Good evening, friends. Today you must have been given another booklet. छोटा सा एक ही टॉपिक रखा है हमने नेक्स्ट वाले बुकलेट में, so that we finish everything today only. First, we would try to finish whatever we were doing yesterday. For those students who have come here for the first time, who have come to this class for the first time, or who are watching it online for the first time, please make sure that you watch the yesterday's video as well, because there in the first half we have explained what the program would be, what would be the structure of the program, because I keep getting calls for the entire day asking me about, sir, इसमें ये होगा क्या, उसमें वो होगा क्या. So if you watch the first half an hour of yesterday's video, the first lecture, everything would be clear to all of you. Okay. Now, Tanya is asking online that do we follow some plan while covering mains topic, or will it be random? We'll be following a plan. As I told you, one would be the weekly thing, जो अभी news में चल रहा है वो. But another type of material that you will get would be as per the syllabus of UPSC. हम देखते हैं next week either we'll start with GS2 or we'll start with GS3. तो जो पहला point syllabus का लिखा है ना, we will be dealing with those. न्यूज में अब देखो, जो वीकली न्यूज में चल रहा है वो तो जैसे चल रहा है वैसे ही कवर करना पड़ेगा. आई कैन नॉट कवर द एंटायर GS3, मतलब वो वैसे कर. तो वन बुकलेट वुड बी लाइक दिस, July 1, July 2 like this. Other booklet would be target mains wala, which would be topic specific. Okay, so let's start the class. Yesterday we were dealing with some topics in GS3. तो उसी में एक topic that we have to deal with today is farm loan waivers. It was in news recently because SBI has recently published a report where it says that only 50% of the farmers benefited. Like if the farm loan waiver was supposed to benefit, let's say 5 crore farmers, it only benefited 2.5 crore. So this number is not correct. 5 crore, 2.5 crore is not correct. जो plan था कि this farm loan waiver scheme would help these many students, of that only 50% were benefited. This report came recently. Now see, these reports are not that important for examination, but the topic of farm loan waiver, we have in syllabus it's mentioned subsidy and associated issues is mentioned in the syllabus. So MSP is a kind of subsidy, fertilizers subsidy दिया जाता है agriculture में, that's issue associated with that. Farm loan waiver is also an indirect form of subsidy, direct or indirect form of subsidy. तो subsidy indirect direct दोनों आपके syllabus में है, that's why it's very important. So this report would be used in our topic. This report and its details हमें रटना नहीं है, कुछ पढ़ना नहीं है. जब हम न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ते हैं तो न्यूज़पेपर will basically be covering a lot of things about what is there in the report. UPSC will not ask you SBI की रिपोर्ट में क्या है. UPSC will ask you a question on farm loan waiver and there you will quote this report, some data of its report. Fine. So let's start with our understanding of farm loan waiver. What is farm loan waiver? Farm loan waiver at very basic level is this. Suppose I'm a farmer, I had taken loan from the bank. Government says we are waiving off the loan. We are waiving off the loan, that is farmer, you do not need to pay back the loan. Then who pays the loan back? Like bank will not be able to survive, government will pay on behalf of the farmer. This is farm loan waiver. Now, is everyone clear about what farm loan waiver is? Is everyone very comfortable about it? So this is farm loan waiver. Now, why do we give farm loan waiver, or why do government give farm loan waiver? What are the advantages? What is the need of farm loan waiver? So first is agriculture in India is under a lot of stress. Thus, farmers are under a lot of stress. In that situation, farm loan waivers come as a boon for farmer. वो stress reduce करने में it plays a very important role. So rising input cost, agrarian stress, all these things leading to suicides, we expect that these kind of waivers would reduce this kind of stress, would reduce suicide, would reduce the poverty level, which may be increasing because of so much dependency on agriculture. It would be that reason. That is the primary reason. Primary reason तो political होता है, उस पे नहीं जाएंगे. This is the primary reason given in support of why farm loan waiver. What are the advantages of farm loan waiver? But there are other advantages also suggested. कि farm loan waivers may give you other benefits also. One, it can help banks. See, what happens is they have not started. Give me a second, guys. What happens is, let's say a bank has given loans to a lot of farmers, and these farmers, because of drought or because of other situation, are not able to pay this loan back. What happens? These accounts become NPA, and a lot of money of bank gets stuck. When this money gets stuck, they have to create provisioning and all. What all this leads to is bank not having money for more loans. When bank will not have money for more loans, it may not be able to fund agriculture, it may not be able to fund, let's say, your education, it may not be able to fund other aspects of the economy, and the entire economic sector suffers if loans are stuck. And therefore farm loan waivers में ऐसा नहीं है कि banks are not getting their money back. Banks would be getting their money back. It's just government would come and give all this money back to bank, and bank would be able to play its economic role for the Indian economy. Right? Is this clear to all of you? कि कैसे बैंक भी benefit करेंगे, how banks would be benefited by farm loan waivers. Then there are other advantages. One advantage that is given is, see, if there are farmers who are in a lot of stress, then sometimes they give up. Hey, we cannot give the loan back, we are not in a condition to give the loan back. But if they are partially helped and they come to a situation where they realize, yes, there's a possibility, there's a hope, we should put efforts to return the remaining amount. So this initiative, this partial help by government, brings them out of that demotivating phase and ensures that they would be in a position where they'll be able to contribute more and thus pay the loan, the remaining loan amount back. Then finally, another argument which is given for supporting farm loan waiver is, if big corporate houses get so much of write-offs. Write-offs are not actually waiver, but still when banks write off loans saying कि ये इसे हम loss ही consider कर रहे हैं for now. Why can't farm loan waivers be given whose scale is much lower than the scale at which these write-offs happen for corporate sector? These are some of the reasons given for supporting farm loan waivers. Fine. Are all of us very clear about it? Okay. But there are then criticisms. First is the fiscal health. State government, central government, जो भी announce करता है. In 2008, central government had announced a mega farm loan waiver. After that, a lot of state governments tend to, like before elections, political parties would say, if we come to power, we'll do this. है ना? अभी I think who's this Rahul Gandhi's sister? Priyanka Gandhi, when she was campaigning in Uttar Pradesh, she had also promised some farm loan waiver. आने के चांस है नहीं, बोल लो कुछ भी. Right? So she had also promised कि हम farm loan waiver देंगे. But all this, suppose Congress had come to power in UP and they were actually giving farm loan waiver, UP's fiscal condition is already troublesome. Where would they get money? They would be diverting the money which should have been spent for other welfare initiatives, for infrastructure development, for economic development, into farm loan waivers. This becomes a cause of first criticism, major criticism. Then ये उसी से associated है, fiscal problems रहेंगी तो government will not be able to spend money on other developmental issues and development would go on back foot. Then it also creates pressure on other states. If Uttar Pradesh में farm loan waiver रहेगा, neighboring states या फिर दूर वाले states भी, the farmers there may expect कि if we put enough pressure, we may also get farm loan waivers. So unnecessary pressure gets created on other state governments too. Then it increases the stressed assets of the bank in long run. You will say, sir, you just said that it will reduce NPA because government is paying them back. But consider this scenario: these were the farmers who took loan. Government came and paid the loan. Next time, what would happen? They'll take loan and wait. Let the government come, and the government would not be able to come every time. But this would lead to increase in the NPAs of the banking sector. then farm loan waivers have not helped. फार्म लोन वेवर्स अगर अग्री स्ट्रेस को रिड्यूस किया होता, अगर सुसाइड रेट्स रिड्यूस किया होता, then we would have said that it is achieving its main target, because of which we were saying that farm loan waivers should be there. But 2008 में mega farm loan waiver was given by UPA government at the center. Even after that, suicide rates of farmers haven't gone down. So farm loan waivers are not helping. Recent रिपोर्ट बाय एसबीआई, अभी हम एसबीआई रिपोर्ट वी वर स्टडिंग कि न्यूज में क्यों था, तो एसबीआई रिपोर्ट को कोट करेंगे. एसबीआई रिपोर्ट सेज that only half of the intended beneficiaries actually received debt between received a waiver between 2014 and 2021. It also says that more than most of the farm loan accounts were not stressed. That is, farmers were in a situation of paying the loan back. So it's not, farm loan waivers are not helping farmers who really need help. Generally loans भी हम small and marginal farmers के केस में नहीं देखते हैं. Generally the well off farmers get more loans from the bank, and it is their loan which are getting waived off. So farm loan waivers का जो primary intention था, even that's not getting fulfilled. Then waivers generally cover very small number of farmers, farmers who are investing by their own savings. Let's say I'm a farmer, he's also a farmer. I have taken loan, but he has made some savings and he has invested in the farmland using his saving. He doesn't get any waiver. Whereas a person like me, जो saving भी नहीं कर रहा है, जो अच्छे से agriculture भी नहीं कर रहा है, I would get waiver. The problems. Then farm loan waivers exclude landless workers or landless farmers who are sharecroppers and all. Farm suicides have also not gone down since 2008. Then it becomes tool to influence voters, which also hampers India's democracy. जब गवर्नमेंट इस तरह के इनिशिएटिव्स अनाउंस कर देगी जस्ट इलेक्शन से पहले, रूलिंग गवर्नमेंट अनाउंस कर दे या ऑपोजिशन अनाउंस कर दे, it's like cash for vote. It's like cash for vote, and it hampers the democratic mechanism. Fine. तो यहां पे there's a term used called moral hazard. कहीं पे होगा. Fourth one, moral hazard is, this time you gave me farm loan waiver. Next time, even if I have money, I will not go and pay the loan. I'll wait for the waiver. This moral hazard gets created by farm loan waivers. So I hope you have understood both sides of the argument. The need for farm loan waivers, or what are the reasons given for supporting farm loan waivers, and then why farm loan waivers are problematic. RJ Random Check is saying, where can I find the handout? It's not on the Telegram channel, I guess. It's there. See in the description. Current Affairs का हमारा Telegram channel है. These notes were given yesterday. तो कल 4 बजे के आसपास Telegram channel पे you'll be able to find the notes. And today's notes were, I think, uploaded at 4:15 or 4:30 today. So you'll be able to find it there. Anyways, so we have both sides of the argument. We have farm loan waiver होना चाहिए, farm loan waiver नहीं होना चाहिए. Depending on what kind of question is asked, we will emphasize on one aspect and not the other, and थोड़ा बहुत दूसरे aspect के बारे में discuss करेंगे. But what should be the way forward here? Should we go for farm loan waiver or should we not go for farm loan waiver? What should be our suggestion in the examination hall? Keep ban farm loan waiver altogether, or let farm loan waiving happen? We cannot say either of the things, right? Banning it altogether, sometimes it may be needed. Drought आ गया है, situation बहुत खराब है, प्रधानमंत्री फसल बीमा योजना में लोग covered नहीं हैं. Where do farmers go? So we cannot say that do away with farm loan waivers altogether, but at the same time we also cannot say that let the things go on as it is going, because it's associated with lots of problems. it may hamper agriculture in long term, agriculture loan in long term, it may hamper banking sector, it may hamper developmental activities, it may create a moral hazard. It's mostly helping well-off farmers. So associated with lots of flaws. So what should be the way is issue पे? So we are saying that farm loan waiver, first we would not say that do away with it altogether. Farm loan waivers need to be structured more properly so that people who are really stressed get the benefit, not the other way around. Plus, in farm loan waiving, historical data should be looked into. If there have been farmers who, in general situation, have been regularly returning their loans in a timely manner, they should be given preference in waiving as compared to those जो जनरल सिचुएशन में अपना लोन वापस नहीं कर रहे हैं. Right? Gaurav Sharma is saying outright ban on farm loan waiver may not be the prudent way. हाँ, वही यही हम बता रहे हैं. Fine. So first thing that we are saying in way forward, a well-designed loan waiver program could be useful. It could enhance the overall well-being of the household by improving their productive investment as opposed to distorting the loan utilization and repayment patterns. So one possibility is to formulate eligibility rules that depend on historical loan utilization, investment, repayment pattern, etc. And subsidies should go in the form of DBT to cover farmers who take loans from informal sector also. They should not be ignored. But second point would be farm loan waiver is not a long-term solution. We actually have to deal with the core reasons because of which agriculture sector is in stress or farmers come under stress. So here properly implementing Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana would be crucial. Yesterday we studied Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. Why was it in news? Andhra Pradesh has rejoined the scheme. So देखो, Andhra Pradesh has rejoined the scheme is only one part of it. But whenever we'll study a topic, we'll study it from the very basic aspect so that the topic is completed for you. Fine. जैसे यहाँ SBI report was only one part of the one small part of the newspaper article. But when we are covering farm loan waiving, तो हम उसे basic से cover कर रहे हैं. What is it? Advantages, limitation. We have referred to what was in the news. So here, Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana का cover बढ़ाना, increasing the cover of Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana could be one important solution. In long run, we'll also have to take other steps to improve and stabilize the income of farmers. इसमें marketing reforms would be very crucial. आज I think the next topic is on MSP and all. तो वो basically marketing reform की ही बात कर रहा है. We'll study marketing reform कैसे करना है. But currently, the current market structure that exists, farmers are not able to get the right price for their products. They are selling their tomatoes in 5 rupees per kg. Consumers are buying it in 60 rupees per kg. क्या चल रहा है टमाटर का रेट आजकल? 40, 80 और 40 पक्का है. ओआरएन क्या रेट चल रहा है? 70. Okay. So farmers are selling it in 5-6 rupees per kg. We are buying it in 50, 60, 70, 80 different rates. Clearly tells us that there is some problem. जो लोग मेहनत नहीं कर रहे हैं, intermediaries are enjoying all the benefits. So we have to come up with a marketing mechanism where we have to come up with marketing reforms by which farmers are able to get higher value for higher amount for their products, and customers or consumers also do not end up paying exorbitant amount. This agri marketing reform. Please note, जब आप farm loan waivers की बात कर रहे होगे तब you will not be able to write how you will do agri marketing reforms. In its way forward, you will not be able to speak in detail about how agri marketing reforms would happen. So here you would just write one point कि agri marketing reforms to ensure better prices for farmers. Empowering FPOs, creating more FPOs and empowering them to have more bargaining power. Now what are FPOs? FPOs are farmer producer organizations. यहाँ पे some farmers come together and establish a company. Under Companies Act, they will set up a company इसलिए से कभी कभी एफपीसी भी बोलते हैं, फार्मर प्रोड्यूसर कंपनी, farmer producer organization, farmer producer company. Now these farmers would have higher bargaining power. These farmers, while dealing with traders, while dealing with big businesses for the purpose of contract, would have higher bargaining power, can seek for higher value. Then efficient agri-exports mechanism can also play a role. Exports, agriculture export, India is among the largest agri-exporters in the world, but when it comes to agri-exports, there are lots of problems. हम agri-export पे एक topic separately पढ़ेंगे. Government randomly control things, कभी export ban, कभी export allowed, and this creates a instability, and this also leads to farmers not getting correct value for their product. So another suggestion here is, under improving and stabilizing the income of farmer, is efficient agri-export mechanism. Now please note this, agri export जब पढ़ेंगे तो वहां पे और भी चीजें पढ़ेंगे कि agri export कैसे हम improve करेंगे, but while studying farm loan waiver will not go in the details there. Then promoting future trading among farmers to stabilize their income. Future trading is something that has been very ignored. Now what is future trading? Do we understand what commodity exchanges are? Commodity exchanges क्या होते हैं सबको पता है? You know stock exchanges, Bombay Stock Exchange, you can go and buy shares of Reliance, right? और कौन सी कंपनीज होती हैं? टाटा नहीं, टाटा मोटर्स, केपीआई टेक, हाँ आपका फेवरेट केपीआई टेक है, फ्यूचर मल्टी बैगर कंपनी, जोमेटो, हाँ राइट टाइम टू इन्वेस्ट इन, आई एम नॉट अ पता लगे कि आई डू नॉट नो ऑल दीज थिंग्स, बट जोमेटो के प्राइसेस बहुत कम हो गए, तो देयर यू गो एंड बाय शेयर्स, बॉम्बे स्टॉक एक्सचेंज पे गो एंड बाय शेयर्स. ऐसे ही वो स्टॉक एक्सचेंज है, ऐसे ही कमोडिटी एक्सचेंज होते हैं, कमोडिटी exchange. Here you go and buy commodities. Commodity can be gold, commodity can be petroleum, like हमारे commodity exchange में सब नहीं है, मैं just बता रहा हूँ. Commodity can be wheat, rice, potato, tomato. And यहाँ पे future and option का भी एक तरीका होता है. तो when we say when you're buying future, you basically say that a farmer would come and say, I'll provide 6 months down the line 1000 kg of tomato. I'll provide 6 months, एक agreement होगा जहां पे I'll provide 1000 kg of tomato. A trader may come and the farmer says, मैं 25 rupees per kg में provide करूंगा. A factory owner may come who's making tomato ketchup, tomato sauce, would say, ओके आई एम रेडी टू बाय इट, तो ये एग्रीमेंट इनका हो जाएगा, एंड दिस इज अ फ्यूचर वाला एग्रीमेंट. तो 6 months डाउन द लाइन फॉर फार्मर इनकम इज अश्योर्ड, he gets at least 25 rupees. Now this trader may sell this to someone else also on commodity exchange. जैसे मैं रिलायंस का शेयर खरीद के कोई और भी किसी और को भी बेच सकता हूं ना, बट देन दैट पर्सन बिकम्स लायबल फॉर बाइंग इट इन 25 rupees per kg, राइट? तो agri future market, agri future is something that has been ignored a lot. So if we want to stabilize farmers income, contract farming के साथ साथ we'll also have to promote agri future. So we are talking about how do we ensure better income for farmers. तो देखिए इकोनॉमी में विल कम टू स्टॉक एक्सचेंज, कमोडिटी एक्सचेंज कभी जब हम पढ़ रहे होंगे, अभी वी विल नॉट गो इनटू द डिटेल्स ऑफ फ्यूचर एंड ऑप्शन एंड ऑल दोस थिंग्स, बट while writing your answer एक चीज, एक और लाइन तो ऐड कर सकते हैं आप अपने आंसर में, फार्मर की इनकम कैसे स्टेबलाइज करी जाए उसमें, कि दिस इज अनदर एरिया, फ्यूचर ट्रेडिंग अमंग, promoting future trading among farmer is another area through which, another mechanism by which we'll be able to do this. Fine. So in way forward we are saying farm loan waivers have to happen in a selective manner, first aspect. In way forward we are saying we'll have to solve the core issue जिससे फार्मर स्ट्रेस हो रहा है. Promote insurance, ensure better prices, and for better prices better marketing, and other suggestions that we have given. Then regulate informal lenders. जो फार्मर बैंक से लोन ले नहीं रहे उन्हें तो वेवर नहीं मिलता है वैसे, बट दीज इनफॉर्मल लेंडर्स चार्ज वेरी हाई इंटरेस्ट रेट. We have to come up with a law to regulate these lenders also. Charging an interest rate of, let's say, more than 24% per annum, 2% per month should be made completely illegal. अभी 5% पर मंथ का इंटरेस्ट रेट चार्ज करते हैं जे इनफॉर्मल लेंडर्स हैं. देन प्रोवाइडिंग ऑल्टरनेट एम्प्लॉयमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज. एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर का इंडिया के जीवीए में कितना कंट्रीब्यूशन है एज पर द लेटेस्ट 2020-21 का 21-22 का 18.6% समथिंग लाइक. एज पर इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ऑफ इंडिया, लेटेस्ट इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ऑफ इंडिया, agriculture sector's contribution in India's GVA is 18.6% something, 18.8, 18.8%. But it employs more than 50% of the country's workforce. This indicates that there's a lot of problem there. जितने लोग होने चाहिए उससे कहीं ज्यादा हैं. So we have to do what? We have to find alternate job opportunities for these people. This would also reduce agri stress to a large extent, and here skilling opportunities, here educational opportunities, here promotion of rural industries including food processing industries can play very important role. So blanket agri loan waiver can be problematic. वो हमें सिस्टमैटिक तरीके से देना होगा अगर देना है, बट इन लॉन्ग रन द सॉल्यूशन वुड कम फ्रॉम स्ट्रक्चरल चेंजेस इन एग्रीकल्चर, जिसमें मार्केटिंग रिफॉर्म, लैंड लीजिंग रिफॉर्म, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट फार्मिंग रिफॉर्म, प्रमोशन ऑफ फ्यूचर ट्रेडिंग. दीज थिंग्स हैव टू बी केप्ट इन माइंड. फाइन. एग्री लोन वेवर इशू, आर वी ऑल वेरी कंफर्टेबल अबाउट इट? सबको सारे एस्पेक्ट्स क्लियर हैं? कोई इशू, कोई कंसर्न? Let me take these online doubts. Farm loan waivers are good politics but bad economy. अच्छा, वो क्वेश्चन आई हैव गिवन अ प्रैक्टिस क्वेश्चन, तो कोई बच्चा बोल रहा है हाउ डू वी डील विद इट. आते हैं उस पे. सर आई कुड नॉट अंडरस्टैंड इश्यूज इन एग्री एक्सपोर्ट. आर वी गोइंग टू डू इट इन डिटेल लेटर और नॉट? कुड यू एलाबोरेट? देखो बेटा, agri export will study separately, but here I'll explain you the problem right now. Let's say sugar prices are increasing in the country. It means farmers are able to get higher prices for the sugarcane as well. But in that situation, what India ends up doing, will ban the export of sugar. The moment we ban the export of sugar, the supply of sugar increases in the country, prices go down again. So by interfering in the market like this, every time we end up making farmers suffer. In a situation when there are situations when they have to sell their products at very low prices, but the moment a situation comes where they are able to, they can sell their products at high prices, we come and end up doing this kind of interference. So we are saying that streamlining our export norms in such a way that this kind of interference would not happen can benefit farmers. Okay, I hope Tanya, I have been able to clear your doubt. Farm loan waivers is understood? Yes. राइट ऑफ्स क्या होते हैं? कॉर्पोरेट राइट ऑफ्स की बात कर रहे हैं. देखो क्या होता है. सो आई एम नॉट वेरी गुड एट अकाउंट्स, बट स्टिल आई विल ट्राई टू एक्सप्लेन. सपोज आई गो एंड टेक लोन फ्रॉम SBI. I go and take loan from SBI. तो SBI के अकाउंट में दिस विल एक्ट एज लोन, द मनी विच इज एक्सपेक्टेड टू कम बैक, राइट. बट 1 साल हो गए, 2 साल हो गए, 3 साल हो गए. आफ्टर पुटिंग ऑल द एफर्ट्स, SBI इज नॉट एबल टू गेट दिस मनी बैक. तो SBI इन फॉर अकाउंटिंग पर्पसेस वुड से कि यार दिस इज आवर लॉस नाउ. इट विल कीप putting efforts to get the money back, but it will say this money is lost for us now, we have lost this money. In their accounts they would show that money as, in future if they are able to get the money back तो profit में आ जाएगा. But the moment you show that money as loss, kind of pressure on the corporate sector reduces. तो कई बार ऐसा होता है व्हेन कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर के लोन बहुत टाइम तक, व्हेन द कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर इज नॉट able to give their loan back for a long time, the governments, or sorry, the public sector banks ends up writing off those loan ki okay, this is loss, we have considered it loss in our accounts. They may continue putting pressure on the corporate sector ki bhai paisa wapas de do. In future if they do that, then it will come as profit, but right for now we have considered it to be a loss. This is right off. Fine. Anyways, फार्म लोन वेवर सबको समझ में आया है? देखो लोन वेवर ना फिर से समझो, WTO का कोई भी बॉक्स ना तब इम्पैक्ट होगा व्हेन ही हैज अ क्वेश्चन. आपका नाम क्या है? अनीश हैज अ क्वेश्चन कि विल इट इम्पैक्ट WTO's सब्सिडी रिजीम. एनीथिंग विच impacts production of a crop may be impacting WTO's एम्बर बॉक्स सब्सिडी वाला रिजीम. यहां पे किसी पर्टिकुलर क्रॉप का प्रोडक्शन हैज नॉट बीन इंपैक्टेड, या तो जनरल फार्म लोन वेवर है, तो दिस इज नॉट समथिंग दैट्स गोइंग टू अफेक्ट दैट. ओके फाइन, लेट्स गो टू द नेक्स्ट टॉपिक. कह दो ना, आपकी मर्जी है. इज आस्किंग वेविंग फार्म लोन, is it a humanitarian crisis? It's trying to solve a humanitarian crisis. Is it a humanitarian? It is addressing. It is, yeah, that was the first point we discussed ना. सबसे पहले why farm loan waivers में पहला पॉइंट ही डिस्कस किया. एक सेकंड दे दीजिए, बताइए क्या. देखो एक बात सुनो, एक इंडिविजुअल एक क्लास में 3 डाउट पूछेगा, उससे ज्यादा मैं अलाउ नहीं कर रहा हूं. तो अगर इंपॉर्टेंट है और फालतू का नहीं है, बगल में बैठे हुए लड़की को इंप्रेस करने के लिए नहीं है, तभी पूछो. ये देखो फिर से ना, आप सवाल फार्मर सुसाइड वाले करने लगे कि ऐसा क्या फैक्टर है, कि महाराष्ट्र में सुसाइड रेट ज्यादा है व्हेन कंपेयर टू बिहार, है ना. ये हाँ बता दो, बट सुनो, मैं इसका आंसर भी अभी दे सकता हूं, दूंगा भी, बट दिस इज नॉट रिलेटेड टू आवर टॉपिक. अंडरस्टैंड दिस, ये फार्म लोन वेवर से रिलेटेड नहीं है, तो इट डाइवर्ट्स अस फ्रॉम आवर सब. तो हम फार्मर सुसाइड वाला टॉपिक एक दिन पढ़ेंगे, उस दिन अगर ये सवाल आता तो इट वुड हैव बीन रेलेवेंट. बट स्टिल क्या होता है ना कि इन स्टेट्स लाइक Bihar or eastern part of Uttar Pradesh, where a lot of small and marginal farmers are there, there's a culture of people quickly moving out, finding some kind of job, चाहे वो वहीं पास के टाउन में जाके काम करना शुरू कर देंगे वो, which is not necessarily the culture in certain parts of Maharashtra, जहां people are not easily letting go of their land and and are ready to do other things. But there are other aspects also. जैसे बिहार में लैंड इज वेरी फर्टाइल, तो वहां पे चांसेस दैट ड्रॉट वुड अकर, फैमिन वुड अकर, वुड बी मच लेसर व्हेन कंपेयर टू केसेस ऑफ इन केस ऑफ विदर्भा एंड ऑल. दीज कुड बी अदर फैक्टर्स ऑल्सो. बट अगेन जब मैं ये टॉपिक आपको पढ़ाऊंगा उस टाइम मैंने ज्यादा रिसर्च किया होता. प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड कि आई एम नॉट एन एक्सपर्ट ऑन एनी ऑफ द थिंग्स. मतलब ना मैं इकोनॉमी का एक्सपर्ट हूं, ना मैं पॉलिटी का एक्सपर्ट हूं, ना मैं एग्रीकल्चर का एक्सपर्ट हूं. I put in a lot of effort. I prepare very exhaustively and then I come here and deliver with confidence. Right? तो अभी कुछ reasons हो सकते हैं, but जब हम farmer suicide वाला टॉपिक पढ़ेंगे, at that time I'll be able to give you more analysis on this topic. आपका नाम क्या है? राहुल. मैं सबके नाम जानना चाहता हूँ. ठीक है राहुल. Let's go to the next topic. बड़ा है, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. It's mentioned in the syllabus. अब देखो एक और चीज नोटिस करो, the topics that we are covering, we are connecting each and every of those topics with the syllabus. And one major problem with the current affairs material is that वो कुछ भी दे दे. यूपीएससी मेंस एग्जामिनेशन का सिलेबस पूरा करके जाओ, you will be able to attempt all the questions. They go as per the syllabus. But current affairs material end up covering any random thing in a lot of detail with a lot of analysis, and it hampers your preparation. It diverts you to random things. Prelims में पढ़ना पड़ेगा ज़्यादा, because prelims में there is no syllabus. General science लिख के छोड़ दिया है, right? तो they have not mentioned कि quantum computing पढ़ना है कि नहीं, cloud computing पढ़ना है कि नहीं, web 3.0 पढ़ना है कि नहीं. तो but in the mains examination they have very clearly provided nanotechnology, robotics, biotechnology, they have provided syllabus. We'll go according to that. Fine. चलिए नेक्स्ट टॉपिक पे जाने से पहले कुछ डाउट्स हैं यहाँ पे बच्चों के. बट व्हाट अबाउट रिलक्टेंस अमंग द फार्मर्स फॉर दीज चेंजेस लाइक रीसेंट फार्म बिल्स. आते बेटा, दिस इज द फार्म बिल वाला टॉपिक, वी वुड स्टडी इट हियर. राइट ऑफ्स आल्सो हेल्प इन रिड्यूस टैक्स लायबिलिटी व्हेन द अमाउंट इज रिमूव्ड फ्रॉम द एसेट साइड ऑफ द बैलेंस शीट. यस, लॉस हो गया ना तो टैक्स लायबिलिटी उसकी रिड्यूस, जब वो पैसा फ्यूचर में आएगा तो टैक्स बढ़ेगा. मेजर पार्ट ऑफ एमएच लाइज इन रेन शैडो रीजन, मेन कॉज ऑफ सुसाइड. यस, वो हमने बोला, दूसरा पॉइंट यही बोला था कि वहां पे ड्रॉट होने के चांसेस ज्यादा है रेन शैडो रीजन की वजह से, एंड दैट बिकम्स अ फैक्टर. लेट्स कम टू एमएसपी एंड रिलेटेड इशू. रिसेंटली न्यूज में क्यों था? गवर्नमेंट हैज फॉर्म्ड अ कमिटी. दैट कमिटी हैज बीन गिवन 3 responsibilities on 3 areas: promoting zero budget based farming, changing cropping pattern, keeping in mind the changing needs of the country, basically crop diversification, and making MSP more effective and transparent. So we have to study this topic of MSP. What is this MSP? Problems क्या है कि we want it to become more transparent. Problems क्या है कि we want it to become more effective. Why is MSP not effective right now? What are the key issues? What are the key problems? I'll tell you one thing. MSP का टॉपिक जितना हम पढ़ा रहे हैं यहाँ, उसके बियॉन्ड कहीं से कुछ नहीं पढ़ना है. वी आर कवरिंग ईच एंड एवरी पॉसिबल डायमेंशन, अदर देन कुछ चीजें जो प्री के लिए नीडेड होंगी, वो विल डू व्हेन वी आर डूइंग इट फॉर प्रिलिमिनरी एग्जामिनेशन. नो, कि कौन कौन से क्रॉप्स हैं जिसपे एमएसपी मिलता है, नहीं मिलता है, दोस फैक्चुअल थिंग्स, राइट. अदर देन दैट, your MSP needs would be fulfilled here in this notes. In future, every month you'll get 3-4 good articles on MSP. When you're reading those articles in the newspapers, no, at that time quickly go and एक बार अपने notes पढ़ लेना, and then read those articles. While reading those articles, you'll realize that पूरे newspaper article में there was perhaps nothing which you could add. ये मेरे साथ होता है कई बार क्या, हर बार. एमएसपी के इतने आर्टिकल्स आते रहते हैं, पढ़ लेता हूं, फिर रियलाइज करता हूं कुछ भी नहीं है नया ऐड करने को, और कुछ होगा तो यूल ऐड 1 लाइन और 2 लाइन. फार्म लोन वेवर्स पे एसबीआई का रिपोर्ट आया, आई जस्ट एडेड 2 लाइन्स देयर कि दीज आर द 2 थिंग्स एसबीआई रिपोर्ट इज सेइंग. मोर देन लाइक 50%, इट्स ओनली हेल्पिंग 50% ऑफ द टारगेट, एंड द पीपल हु आर बीइंग हेल्प्ड डू नॉट हैव स्ट्रेस्ड अकाउंट, दे आर जनरली वेल ऑफ. दिस वाज द कोर ऑफ द रिपोर्ट व्हिच वी हैड टू ऐड as content in our answer. Fine. So as you will keep doing this program, as we will proceed towards December, you'll realize that these notes would be your primary source, and इसी में while reading newspaper you may add something. Do not start making बहुत elaborate notes right now. जैसे MSP का आप कोई आर्टिकल पढ़ेंगे and there you'll end up making a lot of things as your notes, but वो सब तो आपको मिलेगा ना यहाँ पे, right? So read those articles, maybe underline some key points, keep it with you. When you study MSP तो उस पे वैल्यू एडिशन करो. Else एक प्रॉब्लम जो बच्चे फेस करते हैं वो है कि वो रोज न्यूज़पेपर पे 4-5-6 घंटे लगा देंगे. कुछ बच्चे ऐसा करते हैं कि मैं तो हर चीज पे बैठ के रिसर्च करूंगा, आई विल बिकम द बेस्ट करंट अफेयर्स प्रिपरेशन करने वाला बच्चा. वो नहीं बनना है ना. बेस्ट सिलेक्शन जिस तरीके से सबसे एफिशिएंटली हो पाए, हमें वो बनना है. Okay, so make sure that on newspapers you're not spending more than 1 hour, worst case में 1.5 hour, not beyond that. Watch शुरू करके पढ़ना शुरू करो. आपको लगता है 1 घंटे का टारगेट था, 1 घंटे से ज्यादा हो गए, स्टॉप इट. कुछ चीजें छूट गई, कोई बात नहीं. यू हैव जॉइंड अ करंट अफेयर्स प्रोग्राम, इंपॉर्टेंट होगा तो हो जाएगा, इंपॉर्टेंट होगा तो अगले बार भी आ जाएगा, बट डू नॉट स्पेंड मोर टाइम देन अ फिक्स्ड अमाउंट on newspapers. Let's go to MSP. So MSP, we were saying that MSP was in news because government has formed this committee, और MSP हर साल न्यूज में रहता ही है क्योंकि 2 सीजन है. खरीफ एंड रबी, एंड उससे पहले गवर्नमेंट अनाउंसेस एमएसपी. So this year also in May June government announced a hike in MSP for all varieties of 14 kharif crop. Kharif crop is the crop which is grown at the time of monsoon. So government announced MSP on all varieties of 14 kharif crops. So there are 22 crops plus sugarcane जिस पे MSP announce होता है. Of those 22, 14 are kharif crops. So on all those kharif crops MSP was increased by 4 to 8% when compared to last year. तो ये भी न्यूज में था, तो हम MSP as such वैसे भी पढ़ना चाहते हैं. What is MSP? What is minimum support price? सर प्लान ऑफ टेस्ट कब मिलेगा? बेटा बताया था ना कल की क्लास में. आफ्टर टुडेज क्लास आई विल सिट एंड मेक अ प्लान, और आपको एक पीडीएफ शेयर होगा जिसमें फॉर नेक्स्ट टिल दिसंबर which are the what would be there in the test syllabus, you can make your study plan accordingly, वो आपको दे दिया जाएगा. Fine, let's come to MSP. What is MSP? What is minimum support price? कोई बताएगा? कौन कौन बताना चाहेगा? मैं फिर आपका नाम भूल गया, नाम बता दो. अनीश. What according to you is MSP? ओके, देखो फिर से समझो कि हमें ना चीजों को एकदम कॉम्प्लिकेट नहीं करना है. एक सिंपल भाषा में एक लाइन लिखनी है. हाँ, इट इज द प्राइस you will get me, you are expected to get. Now please understand this, MSP is announced for a lot of crops, but MSP लोगों को मिलता, फार्मर्स को मिलता नहीं है. You'll understand all that today जब हम बताएंगे कि open ended procurement is only of wheat and rice, right? तो MSP is the minimum price set by government at which farmers can expect to sell their produce. It is the minimum price set by government at which farmers can expect to sell their produce. So when market prices fall way below MSP, government may come and start procuring things other than wheat and rice also at MSP. But is MSP a guaranteed thing for farmers? No. That is why farmers were protesting. They say कि make MSP a legal thing. तो हम उन सारे एस्पेक्ट्स पे भी आते हैं, समझते हैं. नाउ MSP started in India after Green Revolution. Green Revolution आया इंडिया में, farmers in Punjab, Haryana, they started doing well, but when the production increased, the price of products went down. So in spite of increase in production, they were not getting right prices. The government came and said कि we will procure those things at this price. So this is the you can sell it in the market if you are getting higher prices, but minimum at this price we will purchase these products. So the beginning of MSP happens in India in 1966-67 for wheat after Green Revolution had led to increase in the production and reduction in the prices. Now, who decides MSP in India? किसी भी प्रोडक्ट के लिए, किसी भी एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्ट के लिए, एक तो फर्स्ट किस एग्रीकल्चर, विच आर द एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्ट्स which would have MSP, and what would be the MSP amount for a particular season. इस सीजन खरीफ क्रॉप राइस इज अ खरीफ क्रॉप. So what would be the MSP for rice? Who decides it? It's cabinet which is deciding it. Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs is the final decision making authority. They would decide what MSP would be for rice or for, और कौन कौन से होते हैं खरीफ क्रॉप्स अभी इस टाइम, कौन कौन से? मस्टर्ड रबी है वे. कंफ्यूज हो गए? अरे ऐसे याद रखो ना, शाहरुख खान सरसों के खेत में जैकेट पहन के नाच रहा है. जैकेट पहन रखा है तो सर्दियों में ही कर रहा होगा ना. नहीं, दिल वाले DDLJ नहीं देखिए. फेवरेट एक्टर कौन है? नवाजुद्दीन सिद्दीकी है ना. इसको भी कभी कभी लगता है कि यही भगवान है. तो गालियां वालियां देना बहुत पसंद होगा तुम्हें, ऐसा नहीं? नहीं बोलेगा मैं गाली नहीं दे रहा, मैं तो डायलॉग दे रहा हूँ अपने फेवरेट एक्टर के. ऐसा। तो wheat और mustard they are रबी क्रॉप्स। मेरे को तो ऐसे ही याद रहता है भाई कि मुझे अच्छे से याद है मस्टर्ड इज नॉट अ खरीफ क्रॉप। तो कुछ पल्सेस खरीफ होते हैं, कुछ रबी होते हैं, बट अदर देन राइस विच आर द रबी खरीफ क्रॉप कोई कुछ भी नहीं बता पा रहा है। मेज, मेज इज अ खरीफ क्रॉप, कॉटन इज अ खरीफ क्रॉप, ठीक है। कॉटन एक्चुअली अलग अलग सीजन में अलग अलग हो जाता है, बट यस। और जूट, ओके। अरे खाने का कुछ बताओ यार। अच्छा ये तो मुझे नहीं पता, चलो चलो ठीक है, रुक जाते हैं। खरीफ क्रॉप, तो फॉर खरीफ क्रॉप्स, फॉर खरीफ अभी हम आपको जब प्रीलिम्स के लिए पढ़ाएंगे ना, विल गिव यू अ लिस्ट कि विच आर द रबी क्रॉप्स, विच आर द खरीफ क्रॉप्स, एंड वो सारी चीजें कर लेंगे, वो प्रीलिम्स के लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है। बिफोर खरीफ सीजन गवर्नमेंट अनाउंसेस on 14 crops what would be the minimum MSP. Final decision would be taken by cabinet, but cabinet gets suggestion from CACP, Commission for Agriculture Cost and Pricing. It is this commission which does the detailed study and gives its argument कि इसका MSP इतना बढ़ना चाहिए, इसका MSP इतना बढ़ना चाहिए and all. Now from 2018-19, from 2018-19, government has decided that MSP that would be announced would be 50% more than the cost of production. अगर फार्मर का कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन 100 रुपीज है फॉर 1 kg of a product, MSP would be at least 50% more than that, 150. Fine, but cost of production can also be calculated in many different ways. There is A2 method, there is A2 plus FL method, there is C2 method या A2 plus FL plus C2 method. Okay, A2 method में let's say I'm a farmer and the money that I spent on buying seeds and buying fertilizer and for irrigation and all, that is my cost. That is my cost. A2 plus FL में जो पैसे मैंने खर्च किए प्लस फैमिली लेबर, I went into the field, my wife went into the field, sometimes my children also went into the field, they worked. That is also a kind of, though it's not monetarily directly, but if I had if I had hired laborers for that work, I would have had to pay money, right? So it should also be, this family labor cost should also be included in the cost of production, right? So this is A2 plus FL method. And right now when we are saying that we would ensure MSP of cost of production plus 50%, we are using A2 plus FL method. But C Rangarajan committee, agriculture commission जो बना था, they had said that you should, for calculating cost of production, you should use the A2 plus FL plus C2 method. Now ये, what is this method? In this method we say that जो land का cost है, suppose I had kept the land fallow, I had given it on rent to anyone, someone else. उस इंसान ने भी मुझे कुछ रेंट दिया होता ना रेंट लैंड का, तो when I am growing something there, I am losing that rent also. That is also my cost. That should also be included in my cost. If I had not done agriculture on this land, I must have received some rent. That's also a cost that I am losing when I am doing agriculture on that land. So even that should be considered while calculating what? While calculating a cost. Okay, रंगराजन कमेटी had said कि ये वाला मेथड यूज करना चाहिए, बट गवर्नमेंट के लिए सस्ता थोड़ा सा A2 plus FL मेथड है, तो राइट नाउ वी यूज A2 plus FL मेथड. ओके, तो लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड दिस कि हमारा जो पेड कॉस्ट है दैट इज 100 रुपीज, फैमिली लेबर है दैट इज another 100 rupees, and let's say this rent that we would have got is another 100 rupees. So by this method, by A2 method, the cost of production would be 100 rupees. Government would say MSP would be at least 150 rupees. But by A2 plus FL method, cost of production would be 200. Government has to ensure that MSP is at least 300. But by this method, cost would be 300. Government will have to ensure MSP is at least 450. तो ज्यादा expensive हो जा रहा है उनके लिए, तो they are going by A2 plus FL method. So currently, how do we determine like what is the minimum MSP that we are supposed to get after 2018-19? Cost of production plus 50%, and that 50% cost of production is calculated by A2 plus FL method. Oh sorry, स्वामीनाथन कमेटी में I'm sorry यार ये सारे इकोनॉमिस्ट ना I'm really sorry, मैं रंगराजन कमेटी बोल रहा हूँ, स्वामीनाथन कमेटी. It's given in your notes, वो गलती नहीं होती. बिल्कुल समझ में नहीं आया, फिर से रिपीट कर दो, एक बार फिर से भर दो ना फीस. देखो C2 है, सपोज यू हैव अ लैंड, आप उसे रेंट पे दे देते सब कुछ छोड़ के, ना उसमें आपने कॉस्ट लगाया कोई, ना उसमें आपने फैमिली लेबर लगाया, बस उसे रेंट पे दे दिया, यू वुड हैव गॉट सम मनी, राइट. तो व्हेन यू आर डूइंग एग्रीकल्चर ऑन दैट लैंड एट योर ओन, वो मनी भी तो आप मिस कर रहे हो, समझ गए ना. नहीं, वो तो हम बोल रहे हैं कॉस्ट कितना लगा आपका, व्हाट इज योर, इसे ऐसे समझिए कि दिस इंस्टीट्यूशन, टू रन दिस इंस्टीट्यूशन आई ऑल्सो हैव टू पे द रेंट, है ना. तो व्हेन I will calculate my cost of running this institution, I would include rent also. But suppose this building was owned by me. In that case, मैं rent दे नहीं रहा होता, but still while calculating cost, rent का income जो I am missing, वो भी मेरा cost ही होता ना. Opportunity cost नहीं बे, opportunity cost तो दूसरा होता है. Right, opportunity cost is this, if I was doing some other job, my life would have been different then. जब आप सिविल सर्विसेज प्रिपरेशन करने आए, सही हो भाई, पक्का मास्क वास्क लगा के बैठ जाओ तुम, रिस्की लग रहे हो. क्या नाम है आपका? अरविंद. गॉट इट, ये वाली बात समझ में आई ना. देखो ये यू विल सी दिस इन न्यूज़पेपर्स रेगुलरली, A2 मेथड, A2 प्लस FL मेथड. तो ना क्लैरिटी रहनी चाहिए कि what are we talking about right now, which method is used, A2 plus FL method. Swaminathan committee says that A2 plus FL plus C2 method should be used. It would have ensured more value of crops for farmer. A cost plus 50% would have ensured the value of crops, the MSP that they would have got would have been higher. Now, so MSP is announced on 22 mandated crops, and for sugarcane FRP is announced. So MSP is the minimum price which farmers are expected to get when they sell their crops. FRP is the minimum price which sugar factories are supposed to pay farmers. FRP को इसलिए हम MSP नहीं बोल रहे हैं, right? So there are 23 crops for which a minimum price is announced. उसमें से 22 are MSP and 1 is FRP for sugarcane. Actually there are a few more crops जहां पे जिसका MSP is determined by MSP of these crops. जैसे मस्टर्ड है तो मस्टर्ड के जैसे कुछ और क्रॉप्स हैं whose MSP is linked to the MSP of mustard. So in reality, total number of crops on which MSP may be announced may become 26 or 27, but these are the mandated crops on which MSP is definitely announced. There may be some seasonal crops just because government may come and announce MSP, but these are the 22 mandated crops on which MSP is announced and one on which FRP is announced. Please note one thing also very carefully. There are crops like beverage crops like coffee, tea, इन सब पे MSP नहीं मिलता है ना, इन सब पे MSP नहीं मिलता है. तो जनरली जब यूपीएससी क्वेश्चन पूछता है ना, तो इट डजंट वांट यू कि यू क्रैम ऑल दोस 23 क्रॉप्स जिस पे MSP मिले. इट जस्ट वांट्स यू टू बी अवेयर ऑफ व्हाट्स गोइंग ऑन अराउंड यू. देयर आर कॉफी इंडस्ट्रीज डिमांडिंग एन MSP, क्योंकि अभी MSP इज नॉट देयर, कॉफी इंडस्ट्रीज डिमांडिंग एन MSP. तो इन 2018 इन प्रिलिमिनरी एग्जामिनेशन क्वेश्चन हैड कम कि इनमें से which of the following crops are covered under the MSP regime? And people were confused कि यार ये सारे MSP के crops याद रखने. No, you just see कि बाकी सब में टी या कॉफी मेंशन था. on tea and coffee you don't get MSP, तो eliminate हो रहे हैं. Right, so you do not have to cram all the crops on which MSP is announced. Just know a pattern कि अच्छा grains पे मिल रहा है, pulses पे मिल रहा है. There are some commercial crops also. Sugar cane is one, cotton is another, jute is another. उन सब पे भी मिलता है. नारियल, कोकोनट, डीहस्ट कोपरा, उन पे भी मिल रहा है. These are, तो that is enough. You do not have to know कि किस किस दाल पे मिलता है, किस किस पे नहीं मिलता है. It's not possible. हमें ये भी तो पता नहीं होता किस दाल को क्या बोलते हैं. My father had a grocery, तो I know ये मूंग है, मसूर है, but when it comes to English, I'm like, it's difficult for me कि मसूर is lentil, who I've learned very recently when I had to start teaching them. When I was a kid, तो कोई कस्टमर आके यही बोलता ना, मूंग दाल दे देना आधी किलो, है ना, ये लो मूंग दाल आधी किलो. No one used the English name for that. Anyways, Swaminathan committee, not Rangarajan. हाँ, I'm sorry यार, Swaminathan ही है. Why MSP is given? There are three things that MSP tries to achieve. One, protecting farmers. And this is the purpose for which MSP was announced. सबसे पहले भी कि when wheat prices went down, MSP ensured that they get at least this price. Second, it incentivizes farmer to grow those crops which are in short supply. In 2015-16, pulses का price increased drastically in India. If you remember, the arhar dal started costing 180 rupees per kg, 200 rupees per kg. है ना? अब दिलवाले दुल्हनिया ले जाएंगे बहुत पुराना था, ये तो 5-6 साल पुराना, ये तो याद होगा. नहीं सब, we come from rich families, we don't care about how much the dal cost. ना? कोई बात नहीं. तो in 2015, the pulse prices increased drastically because of shortage. So from that year only, government increased the MSP on pulse, and government also increased procurement of pulse. So when MSP increased, farmers knew that they will be getting more money when they will sell pulse. They started producing more pulse. So another thing that MSP does, other than protecting farmer, is it acts as a tool by which we can incentivize farmers. It acts as a tool by which we can incentivize farmers to grow those crops which are in shortage. Then MSP also ensures easy procurement for food security schemes, जैसे National Food Security Act, प्रधानमंत्री गरीब कल्याण अन्न योजना. Government has to ensure that it is procuring food grains for these schemes. So when government market prices are lower, government says we will give you MSP. Procurement by government becomes easy. So these are the three things, three key aims which MSP or mechanism of MSP is letting government fulfill. Fine. सब लोग क्लियर हो. देखो MSP का मतलब, अभी MSP बिफोर हम ये सोचते हैं फार्मर को हम सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, बट इट्स नॉट दैट. देयर आर अदर एस्पेक्ट्स आल्सो. नाउ लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट आर द वेरियस मैकेनिज्म्स बाय व्हिच गवर्नमेंट प्रोकर्स फूड ग्रेन्स एट MSP. तो एक PM आशा का मैकेनिज्म है. विल कम टू PM आशा. PM आशा वाज इंट्रोड्यूस्ड इन 2018-19, बट even before that there were 4 different mechanisms that existed. One is for wheat and paddy, there is open-ended procurement system. What is open-ended procurement system? It's basically there is no limit. You bring all your wheat, you bring all your rice, we will procure it. This is open-ended procurement system of Food Corporation of India for wheat and rice. So wheat farmers, rice farmers, they can be ensured that they would at least get MSP if they are able to sell their product to FCI, and FCI would not say no to it. It comes under open-ended procurement system. Is this understood? Then we have for coarse grains मतलब बाजरा, रगी और क्या होता है, ज्वार, बाजरा, रगी. These are coarse grains. In English they are called barley, millet, and कुछ और होता होगा ना, आई एम नॉट श्योर, बट दीज आर द टर्म्स व्हिच आर यूज्ड. आप हिंदी वाला टर्म भी बाजरा, रगी, ज्वार भी लिख दोगे तो इट वोंट बी अ प्रॉब्लम. तो these are coarse grains, these are not procured by Food Corporation of India on MSP, but MSP is announced for these as well. Here the procurement is made by state governments to the extent they need it to fulfill their NFSA requirement. National Food Security Act में we can give rice, wheat or coarse grain at 1 rupees per kg, wheat at 2 rupees per kg and rice at 3 rupees per kg under National Food Security Act. So states, if they want to distribute coarse grains as well, in that case they would do only that much procurement which is required. Not in case of wheat and rice, the procurement is open ended. In case of wheat and rice, procurement is open ended, but in case of coarse grain, procurement is only limited to the extent it is required for National Food Security Act or for other schemes. This is, some state governments may be giving food grains even beyond what is mentioned in National Food Security Act. In some state, PDS is universalized, it's available for everyone. So they may, if they are giving coarse grain, they may do that kind of procurement. Then there was price support scheme. It also ensured MSP, like it was available for oil seeds, pulses and cotton. And when state government requested that the market price for these products have gone very low and farmers are suffering, in that case government agencies may come and start procuring these things. Again, this is not under open-ended procurement, बहुत कम procurement यहाँ MSP पे होता है. And finally there was market intervention scheme. Market intervention scheme was for जो चीजें जल्दी सड़ सकती हैं, the things which are perishable, fruits, vegetables, etc. So when the supply of these things go up drastically or when the prices fall drastically, generally both the things happen at the same time, government may come up with intervention to procure these things. And यहाँ पे MSP, these are not the mandated crops. Government may just come up and procure some of these at higher prices. These were the 4 different mechanisms which were used, but in reality these 3 mechanisms were not that effective. The procurement was very minimal. So most of the procurement under MSP used to happen, or use क्या अभी भी वही scenario है. Even now most of the procurement in MSP is happening of wheat and rice. So before PM Asha was brought into play, we'll study about PM Asha, what PM Asha is. But before PM Asha was brought into play, what were the shortcomings, what were the problems with MSP regime? अब समझिए, इस बात को समझिए, what is MSP regime trying to ensure? It's trying to ensure that farmers get proper income. It's trying to ensure that we are able to incentivize farmers to grow the crops which is in shortage in the country. And third is National Food Security Act के लिए proper procurement हो पाए. तो procurement FCI is able to done, but other 2 things we are not that effectively able to achieve. Why? What is the problem? Why MSP regime is associated with some issues, some concerns? First is, एक ही ये इन 3 words में ना you can summarize all the 3 key problems which MSP is facing. It's available for few crops only. Generally for wheat and rice, procurement is made at MSP. For other crops, I have grown, let's say, lentil, masoor. Market prices are below MSP, which government has announced. But government is not doing procurement. Will I get MSP? No. Open-ended procurement is only there for wheat and rice, and thus only the wheat and rice farmers are benefiting from MSP. Only it's benefiting few geographies. Like MSP, when the 3 farm laws came, most of the protests happened from Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh. Large farmers. So it's helping few geographies जहाँ पे rich farmers हैं, बड़े farmers हैं, the coastal Odisha या coastal Andhra Pradesh is another region which produces a lot of rice, so they are benefiting. But entire country, all the farmers are not able to benefit from MSP regime, and it's only benefiting well-off farmers, not the farmers who really need support. These are the three key concerns which are still there in MSP regime. There are some other problems also, but MSP का system कहाँ पे limited है in terms of its effectivity. These are the three things. Then there is another issue. MSP which is announced is on the A2 plus FL method, which is lower than the recommended A2 plus FL plus C2 method as per the Swaminathan committee's recommendation. The MSP that is being announced is also lower than what has been suggested by Agriculture Commission. MSP is not available for most of the crops, MSP is not available for most of the farmers, MSP is not available for most of the geographies, and MSP that is available is also lower than what should be the right price for farmers. And thus, it's not even ensuring the right minimum price. Right minimum price should have been A2 plus FL plus C2 plus 50% of this. This should have been the minimum price, so it's not even ensuring the right minimum price. So to solve some of these problems, government came up with PM Asha. PM Asha padhte hain, then we'll come to the recent laws. Government came up with PM Asha. What were the problems? Problem was most of the farmers were not benefiting, most of the crops were not benefiting. So government came up with an initiative where we increase the number of we increase procurement under MSP. Wheat and rice का procurement तो हो रहा है, but there are other crops which are not getting procured under MSP. Under PM Asha, it was expected that procurement of other crops would also increase. PM Asha has three components: price support scheme, price deficiency and payment scheme, and private procurement and stockist scheme. What is price support scheme? Under price support scheme, government said that pulses, oilseeds and copra is dry coconut. Dry coconut, like एक तो कच्चा कोकोनट होता है जो रोडवेज बसेस के बाहर लोग बेच रहे होते हैं ऐसे लेके आके, यस, खाने वाला. एक ड्राई वाला होता है जो आप ड्राई फ्रूट्स के फॉर्म में शॉप्स वगैरह से लेते हैं, एंड देन यू पुट इट इन दी खीर या फिर बाकी चीजों में, प्रसाद में, इन सब चीजों में. तो दैट्स कोपरा. ओके, फॉर दीज थिंग्स गवर्नमेंट से जितना प्रोडक्शन हो रहा है उसका अप टू 25% वी विल प्रोकर अंडर एमएसपी, एंड द कॉस्ट वुड बी बोर्न बाय सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट. दिस वाज अ मैकेनिज्म बाय व्हिच वी आर इंक्रीजिंग प्रोक्योरमेंट ऑफ अदर क्रॉप्स. व्हीट राइस के अलावा बाकी क्रॉप्स का भी एमएसपी के अंदर अदर देन व्हीट एंड राइस, other crops also should get better procured under MSP. Price support scheme for pulses, oilseeds and copra was trying to do that, is trying to do that. Fine. Then there is price deficiency and payment scheme. What happened under price deficiency and payment scheme? Under the scheme, government said that you have oilseeds, we are announcing MSP on oilseeds, but we are not procuring it on MSP. Government is not procuring. You go and sell that in market. Market मतलब APMC मंडीज में you sell it to registered traders. You sell it to traders. Suppose MSP is 20 rupees per kg and you are selling it in 18 rupees per kg. You come back with this receipt, we will transfer you 2 rupees per kg. प्राइस डेफिशिएंसी एंड पेमेंट. जो एमएसपी से कम प्राइस पे अगर आप बेच रहे हो, वी विल कॉम्पनसेट यू फॉर दैट, गवर्नमेंट विल कॉम्पनसेट यू. So this was another mechanism by which we would have ensured MSP for farmers. Farmer is selling it at lower price in the market to the registered trader in APMC mandis. Bidding करने के बाद this was the highest money that trader was giving to farmer. मार्केट प्राइस इतना ही हो पाया, कोई बात नहीं, यू सेल इट देयर एंड द डिफरेंस वी वुड गिव. इन मध्य प्रदेश देयर वाज अ स्कीम रनिंग कॉल्ड भावांतर भुगतान योजना. भावांतर, भाव इज रेट, अंतर इज डिफरेंस. तो रेट में जो डिफरेंस है, भुगतान इज कॉम्पनसेशन. सॉरी, भावांतर भरपाई इन हरियाणा, ओके, भावांतर भुगतान इन मध्य प्रदेश And Dipanshu, आपका नाम Dipanshu है ना? Dipanshu is saying Bhavantar Bharpai in Haryana. So this scheme is would also lead to what? More procurement on MSP for oil seeds, but it would lead to more procurement on MSP. Third was private procurement and stockist scheme. What is private procurement and stockist scheme? In this, we are saying private players. Private players, let's say स्वप्निल, क्या नहीं, स्नेहिल. डिफरेंस क्या होता है स्वप्निल स्नेहिल में? अरे स्पर्श में नहीं जाना मुझे, तो मुझे स्वप्निल स्नेहिल में डिफरेंस बताओ. प्यारा. स्वप्निल का मतलब नहीं पता, तो मम्मी पापा ने ऐसे प्यारा नाम रख दिया, तो तुम्हारा नाम ऐसे रख देते हैं साजन. अच्छा, उसका टच प्यारा हो, बेटा मोलेस्टेशन हो जाएगा. ऐसा मत कर देना, मेरा टच प्यारा है, बहुत बहुत पिटोगे. तुमको गोद में उठाएगा कोई. चलिए स्टॉक स्कीम वाला थर्ड वाले कंपोनेंट को समझते हैं. जब मेरे माँ बाप ने जब मुझे गोद में उठाया होगा तो मैं उनको प्यारा नहीं लगाऊंगा. चलिए let's come back. In this scenario, Snehil is a private player. Snehil is being asked by government, buddy, you create a infrastructure, you buy from farmers at MSP, you buy oil seeds from farmers at MSP, you store it, and then when prices increase, you sell it in the market. Private procurement, private player is procuring it and stocking it in stockist scheme. You buy at MSP, Snehil will buy at MSP, Pyara Sparsh will buy it at MSP. He would store it, and when the prices go up, he would sell it in the market. Government in this way is ensuring that farmers are getting MSP. It's also ensuring that it doesn't have to procure, क्योंकि FCI के गोडाउन्स में जगह नहीं है, वेस्टेज हो रहा है, transportation cost and all would be minimal for government. Private sector's investment in establishing storage facilities go up, and he also gets right prices when the price increase. But what if prices don't increase? What if when he is going to sell, he gets way lesser than MSP? Their government says that we would compensate you up to 15% of the notified MSP. When you bought something at 20 rupees per kg, which was the MSP, and market में while selling, you ended up selling at 18 rupees. तो आपका 10% का gap है, we would compensate you for that. When you are making profit, it's your profit. But when there would be loss, we would compensate you for that. So by this mechanism, what is being tried? It is being tried that private players should create infrastructure, should create storage facilities so that government पे dependency would be lesser. Government is not procuring, the fiscal burden also on government would be lesser, but farmers are getting MSP, the farmers are benefiting. Farmers are getting MSP right in front. The farmers are benefiting. This was private procurement and stockist scheme. So there were these three under PM Asha. These three initiatives were launched in 2018 with the aim कि MSP regime suffers from the problem that only few crops are benefiting from it. Let's increase procurement under MSP. You're asking something? No. See, hoarding generally happens when people illegally store things. Illegally, when everything is transparently done, and in those cases, hoarding chances are not there. Fine, hoarding would be, I know that this year there is shortage of mustard. Okay, and because क्या होता है, Essential Commodities Act है, government can put a limit on what is the total storage that anyone can have. Okay, so it's not going to happen. What's your name? Abhishek. Fine. Did we all understand? अब देखो इन तीनों schemes के ना डिटेल्स को ज्यादा समझना नहीं है, नाम से यू शुड बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड, बिकॉज द स्कीम हैज नॉट बीन वेरी सक्सेसफुल, चांसेस दैट इट वुड बी आस्क्ड इन एग्जाम इज मिनिमल. अगर पूछ भी लिया जाए तो यू शुड बी एबल टू आंसर. प्राइस सपोर्ट स्कीम, oil seeds, pulses and copra, up to 25% of total production, government said we'll buy it at MSP. So here government will buy, it would store, government agencies would store. Bhavantar Bhugtani, what was the, no, Bhavantar Bhugtan was of Madhya Pradesh. ये PM आशा के अंदर वाला क्या है? Price Deficiency and Payment Scheme. In this government said you sell it in for oil seed, this is only for oil seed, sell it in the market, whatever is the gap we'll pay you that. Then private procurement and stockist scheme, private player, you create storage facilities, you buy, you sell it in the market. If you are making some losses up to 15% of the MSP value loss, we would help you get compensated. Idea was we increase procurement under MSP, more farmers are able to benefit from MSP. But note one more thing, the previous schemes जो हमने 4 other initiatives पढ़े हैं, those were not ignored, those continued. PM Asha was in addition to, Asha will be complementing other scheme, it is not replacing all the other schemes. Market intervention scheme, price support scheme, all those things would still continue. Fine. Now, someone raised his hand. Yes. Why are oil seeds being taken so? देखो, see, nothing is being treated specially. देखो, there are what happens is India, though is an agriculture rich country, when it comes to vegetable oil, we import a lot of it. We are still import dependent. For wheat, rice, vegetable, fruits, we are exporters. But when it comes to vegetable oils, we are importers. So it's important that we increase the production of oil seeds within the country. But here purpose was not that. Purpose was the government did not say that this is our aim. It was that there are a lot of farmers who are trying to grow oil seeds, but they are not getting right price. Let's go for it. Let's ensure that they are also covered. Okay. Now advantages. What was PM Asha supposed to achieve for us? What was supposed to be advantage? तो एक advantage तो था कि farmers को more farmers should be able to get MSP. This was one advantage. Better remuneration for farmers. Other was reducing storage and procurement requirement for government. First में तो government is storing and procuring, but in the second scheme, you are selling it in the market. So government का storage and procurement requirement goes down. Burden on government reduces. You would say, sir, how would it reduce? Government will pay the difference. No, government will only pay the difference. But when government buys something, then stores it, उसमें से part of it gets ruined by rainfall and other things, the loss is much higher. Just paying the price difference is much simpler. Similarly, stockist scheme, private players are coming, they are creating infrastructure. So it was also expected that it will increase private players' participation. There would be more investment in storage facilities, and all these things would lead to improved food security for India. This was something that we were supposed to achieve. But the scheme suffered from a number of issues, number of problems, and we did not achieve most of these things. First problem was, various studies showed that in order to implement PM Asha, 25% procurement of pulse, oil seeds and cotton and price deficiency scheme and all that, in order to implement this scheme effectively, जो आपने बोला है, you needed a budget of around 3 lakh crore rupees. Government allocated 15,000 crore rupees. भाई price difference आपको देना है. You are saying now MSP price difference you would give. So for that, the amount needed was much higher. When the allocation in the scheme is in itself so low, in that situation, what happens? Scheme doesn't get effectively implemented. एक private player ने storage facility बनाया, सब कुछ किया, but that private player will not get the right compensation, timely compensation. So if a scheme suffers. Implementation of the scheme suffers, and that's why we have seen that most of the farmers are still not enjoying the benefits of MSP. Then PM Asha was not very inclusive, or a number of factors hindered it from becoming inclusive. Inclusive in the sense कि छोटे farmers भी benefit हो पाए, बाकी regions भी benefit हो पाए. That would have made things inclusive. But agri marketing reforms had not happened. Because of this, small and marginal farmers were still selling their products in local haats and all. Poor infrastructure led to small and marginal farmers never reaching to the market to sell their products at the MSP. Ineffective supply chain management led to even the first section not getting effectively implemented. Then there were states' financial condition. For second and third scheme, a part of the cost had to be borne by state government. And हमने तो कल ही देखा in फसल बीमा योजना they are not interested in contributing. So states also could not contribute a lot, becoming another concern. And then MSP amount was also kept on the lower side. जैसे हम general MSP के criticism में बोल रहे हैं, rather than following A2 plus FL plus C2 method as recommended by Swaminathan committee, we were still determining MSP by A2 plus FL method. So right MSP was also not being given. So PM Asha hasn't been very effective. PM Asha hasn't been very effective. Okay, तो ये तो हमने समझ लिया PM Asha की प्रॉब्लम. बट इन जनरल MSP, देखो MSP regime in India is suffering from various problems. What are the problems that we have seen? हमने प्रॉब्लम देखा, few crops, few farmers, few regions and lesser money. ये वाला these are the shortcomings that we saw in the MSP regime so far. Then we saw PM Asha and PM Asha's limitation. There are other problems which MSP regime is, or there are other criticisms of MSP regime. One is that it distorts market. When you want private players to invest, no. When you want more investment in agriculture sector, in that situation, you want that private players are sure that government will not interfere in business. But MSP regime is basically government's interference in business. Why? Production of wheat is very high. I should be able to buy wheat at very low prices. Ashirwad Atta wala would think that I should be able to buy wheat at low prices this year, but government will procure it at MSP, so market prices would also be very high. So MSP regime causes this market distortion which affects business sentiments and which affects investment. MSP regime is also, current MSP regime is also affecting the cropping pattern, because wheat and rice are getting procured under MSP. Even though for my region pulse may be a more suitable crop, I'm still growing wheat and rice, because for wheat and rice I'm assured of MSP, whereas for pulse I'm not assured of, for maize I'm not assured of, for oilseed I'm not assured of. So MSP regime is distorting market. देखो अभी तक जो हमने लिमिटेशन पढ़ी ना, वो ये थी कि MSP regime की effectiveness में क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम है. Now we are saying MSP regime itself is problematic. It is distorting market. It is affecting diversity in agriculture. Farmers are preferring to grow only those crops which are giving them MSP. Then it is also leading to higher inflation. जब agriculture product के prices कम होते हैं, because government buys it at MSP, private players market is not able to get it at lower prices. So eventually consumers also end up paying higher amounts. Same argument, it's related. Cost plus pricing wala argument is similar. When government says that cost plus 50% would be given to farmers, they're ignoring the demand side aspect. Farmers are vulnerable, but a lot of consumers are also vulnerable. For them, you are increasing the price. MSP regime is leading to increase in price. Then, because of MSP regime, because so much money is spent on MSP में food, there used to be 3 subsidies, the 3F, which used to be contributing to more than 95% of the subsidy burden of government: food, fuel and fertilizer. A fuel subsidy तो कम हो गया, but food and fertilizer are still problematic. And during during COVID-19 crisis, with the coming of प्रधानमंत्री गरीब कल्याण अन्न योजना, ये बर्डन और बढ़ गया है. So here we are saying that because government is spending so much money on subsidy, it is not able to spend money on other important aspects. It is not able to spend money on other important aspects of improving agriculture. And finally, FCI and associated problems. When FCI is storing a lot of wheat, a lot of rice, already FCI has stored wheat and rice, which is almost double of what has been recommended as buffer stock. So storage is much higher, and FCI doesn't have good infrastructure, which leads to a lot of grains getting deteriorated. Then there's a lot of corruption, which also leads to increase in the cost of procurement and distribution by government. And finally, there is WTO's Agreement on Agriculture issue. What is this? We will study WTO in a lot of details, but for those of you who are beginners, WTO is an organization which is focused on promoting free trade. Globally, ट्रेड जितना फ्री हो पाए उतना करने का गोल है WTO का. Now, why would WTO want free trade? Because why is free trade good? Free trade is good because it ensures that one country may be good at particular thing, may produce certain things at lower prices, it will focus on that. Other country may be good at other things, it will focus on that, and because of free trade, everyone would be able to benefit. WTO is focused on that, and that's why WTO says that end all these subsidies and all. It affects freedom of trade. Why? Because you are giving MSP on wheat. Wheat is available at higher prices, whereas it should be available at lower prices. So WTO says that all these subsidies should go away. And there are WTO's agreement, जैसे agreement on agriculture. AOA is basically agreement on agriculture. मैंने notes थोड़ा छोटा करने के लिए AOA लिख दिया है. It says that developing countries should not give subsidy beyond 10% of their total value, agriculture produced total value. Various developed countries complain that India is violating those norms. India is procuring a lot under MSP and thus is paying way more than 10% of subsidy. India says that no, that's not true, but even if it's true, we don't care, because for us fighting poverty is more important, food security is more important. National Food Security Act ke liye we need procurement and storage. Because of this difference between developed and developing countries, WTO's negotiations have not gone ahead. It has created problems for the entire world. India is also part of that world. So at WTO's negotiation table, MSP regime creates problem for India. So we would, देखो फिर से ना, जब when you will be writing an answer on MSP, this would just be one line. But when we will be doing WTO, we would study this aspect in more detail. Here I'm just trying to ensure that all the problems which the MSP regime is creating, we should be able to, you should all understand that effectively. So let's go through it again. MSP, there are problems in effectiveness of MSP, few farmers, few crops and few regions. Then prices are also not good enough. PM Asha has not also been effective. PM Asha was trying to solve it, but it hasn't been effective. Budget कम दिया गया और बाकी reforms नहीं आए हैं. Infrastructure has not improved. Other things have not happened. So PM Asha has also not been effective. So MSP has not been effective for some reasons. Then we spoke about why MSP regime itself is problematic. It is distorting market, it is affecting inflation, its storage facilities, storage is leading to a lot of loss, and WTO's regime is creating problems, right? We spoke about those aspects. Now, let's go to way forward. What should be done? But before we go to way forward, let me take the online doubts as well. सर स्वामीनाथन कमेटी, नॉट रंगराजन कमेटी, ये हो गया. बेस्ट सीए क्लास भी बोल रहा है कोई, थैंक यू. 3-point rationale question mark. I don't know what he's talking about. Sir, why the last three mechanisms not that efficient? Is it because they have lesser share in total output? last three mechanism. Oh, PM Asha. Acha, I think we have explained why they have now. First, budgetary allocation itself was very low. Then there were other problems. Sir, what does the line proactive role of states means in the context? Will states share the cost in PSS scheme? No, but states help in procurement. उस case में. But it will increase end price of consumer. Yes, in limitation we have said that it leads to inflation. सर प्राइवेट प्रोक्योरमेंट एंड स्टॉकिस्ट का कोई एग्जांपल? यार मुझे एक्चुअल एग्जांपल नहीं पता कि कौन सा प्राइवेट प्लेयर स्टॉक कर रहा है, बट होंगे. सर विल यू रिपीट ऑल दीज टॉपिक्स अगेन इन फेज 3? यस, फेज 3 में विल रिपीट इट, बट वी विल नॉट बी एक्सप्लेनिंग थिंग्स इन दिस डिटेल. वहां पे आर फोकस वुड ओनली बी ऑन थिंग्स जिससे हम आंसर में लिखेंगे. वहां पे आई विल नॉट एक्सप्लेन यू द डिफरेंस बिटवीन A2 FL एंड A2 प्लस FL प्लस C2 जो अभी बताया. तो इन this phase, in the first phase, we try to go through everything, we try to understand everything. वहां पे मैं आपको ये बोल देता कि WTO negotiations में भी problem हो रही है, and then we would have gone ahead. Okay, so those classes would be much faster. It would be kind of revision for you people, and in case कुछ update होगा तो that update would be there. That update would be discussed in detail. Sir, we cannot announce region wise MSPs as per the agro climate zone. भाई देखो, agro climate zone से you are saying कि can't we announce MSP for different crops? Right, we are already doing that. We are already doing that. We are announcing MSP. अच्छा, his question may be कि sir, why don't, perhaps he is trying to say that sir, why don't we do this in Punjab? We announce that आपको pulse पे मिलेगा MSP, so that they don't grow wheat and rice. Rice is not something which is suitable for that region. They don't grow that. Can we do something like that? Yes. कोई ज़्यादा problem तो दिख नहीं रही मुझे. Let's go ahead. What should be done? We have understood the MSP. सबको clarity है MSP regime पे. What is MSP? How does it work? What are the different mechanisms in India? What are the shortcomings? Now, how do we resolve these shortcomings? Let's talk about those. तो पहले तो वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट हाउ कैन वी इंक्रीज द इफेक्टिवनेस. देखो, देयर आर टू थिंग्स. वन, इफेक्टिवनेस ऑफ एमएसपी. टू, एमएसपी की जरूरत ही ना हो. देयर टू एस्पेक्ट, राइट? बिकॉज एमएसपी इटसेल्फ इज क्रिएटिंग अ लॉट ऑफ प्रॉब्लम. तो फर्स्ट वी आर सेइंग that there is a need of correction in the way MSP is provided. Land rentals and capital depreciation need to be kept in mind. Here we are talking about come up with A2 plus FL plus C2 method. Provide them the right price. In order for our procurement policy to be really inclusive, government will need to focus upon improving the procurement infrastructure in rural, remote and backward areas. Procurement infrastructure has to go till that place so that small and marginal farmers will also be able to sell their products to government. अभी it's only benefiting larger farmers. वो बहुत ज्यादा distance तक अपने product को लेके आ सकते हैं because they have large quantity of product, which is in the case with small and marginal farmers. There is also need to fast track the reforms of APMCs to end cartelization. तो अभी APMC, अच्छा आज हम APMC नहीं पढ़ रहे हैं, MSP पढ़ रहे हैं, right? And that's why those laws are not being covered. Fine, I'll briefly explain you. India में agri marketing right now is controlled by APMC acts. State governments, agriculture is a state subject, so state governments have come up with APMC acts where they say that farmer should sell the products in the APMC mandis which are created by government. Farmers will be selling their product in APMC mandis. Not like farmer cannot carry the product and just sell it in the market. Farmer will sell it in the APMC mandis. Why? APMC mandis were brought so that farmers will not get exploited. Earlier when APMC mandis were not there, कोई भी ट्रेडर फार्मर को लो प्राइस में जबरदस्ती लेके चला जाता था. Farmers used to get exploited. So government created these APMC mandis where farmer would go and traders would bid. I'll give you 12 rupees per kg. I'll give you 12 rupees 10 paisa per kg. I'll give you 12 rupees 20 paisa per kg, and whoever is the highest bidder would get the farmer's produce. So farmer gets the right price. That was the focus of APMC. But over the years, what has happened? A lot of cartelization has happened. All the traders who are registered in that APMC mandi decided, guys, let's keep the highest price at 10 rupees. No one would bid beyond 10 rupees. Because of this cartelization, farmers are not getting right price in APMC mandis, and that's why they have to depend on MSP and all. So here we are saying that we have to bring reforms in APMCs. और एपीएमसीज में रिफॉर्म लाने के लिए क्या मंडीज में रिफॉर्म लाने के लिए क्या हुआ था, अभी 3 फार्म लॉज आए थे. द फर्स्ट फार्म लॉ वाज फोकस्ड ऑन दैट. फाइन. Step towards wooing private investment needs to be enhanced. Abhi mandis are not getting any competition. Cartelization is happening. Farmers are forced to go to the mandis. Their traders are making cartels. They are not giving right price to mandis. If we can get private mandis also, where private players would be working, these mandis will have to compete with the private mandis. These mandis will also improve their services, quality of service. They would also ensure that they are doing proper bidding. And the recent act, recent act which was brought, which had to be repealed, was also trying to do that. It allowed private mandi. It allowed private mandis, but it has been repealed now. But उसने ये करने की कोशिश करी थी. So these recommendations which we are giving in our way forward are some things which have been recommended by various committees over the last many years. ऐसा नहीं है कि गवर्नमेंट रैंडमली इन चेंजेस को लेके आ गई थी, बट द वे चेंजेस वर ब्रॉट वर प्रॉब्लमैटिक. पहले ऑर्डिनेंस के फॉर्म में ले आए, दे डिड नॉट कंसल्ट द स्टेक होल्डर्स, दे मेड फार्मर्स गेट सस्पिशियस, फार्मर्स एंडेड अप प्रोटेस्टिंग. विल नॉट गेट इनटू द पॉलिटिक्स ऑफ द इशू. नो, किसी भी इशू पे हम प्रोज एंड कॉन्स समझेंगे. सम ऑफ यू मे बी फार्मर्स एंड मे से दैट सर आप कैसे बोल सकते हो कि फार्म बिल्स अच्छे थे. डोंट गो इनटू दैट. आप सब लोग प्लीज ये समझो कि इन दिस क्लासरूम वी वुड नेवर बी बायस्ड और इन सपोर्ट ऑफ एनी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी. एज सिविल सर्वेंट यू आर ऑल्सो सपोज टू बी न्यूट्रल. तो अपने बायसेस अपन लोग घर पे रखेंगे. ओके और सोचेंगे कि सर ऐसा क्यों बोल रहे हैं, क्यों वो फार्म बिल्स वर अ गुड स्टेप इन द agricultural reforms. When I'm saying कि गवर्नमेंट डिड नॉट ब्रिंग इट इन द राइट वे, तब भी कोई ऐसे अपने दिल पे ना बुरा मत फील करना कि हाउ कैन ही क्रिटिसाइज गवर्नमेंट, इज एन एंटी नेशनल. नहीं है ना, खालिस्तानियों को सपोर्ट कर रहा है. इट वॉज नॉट ब्रॉट इन द राइट वे. फार्मर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन शुड हैव बीन कंसल्टेड. दे शुड हैव बीन कन्विंस्ड कि दिस इज समथिंग दैट इज फॉर योर बेनिफिट. ऑर्डिनेंस लाने की क्या जरूरत थी यार इतने बड़े रिफॉर्म के लिए. यू क्रिएट सस्पिशन देयर ओनली. यू आर ट्राइंग टू फोर्स समथिंग. कोविड लॉकडाउन चल रहा है एंड यू आर कमिंग अप विथ दिस काइंड ऑफ रिफॉर्म विथ सच ऑर्डिनेंस. सो दिस क्रिएट्स प्रॉब्लम्स. फाइन. तो जब हम अग्री मार्केटिंग रिफॉर्म पढ़ेंगे, आज हम नहीं पढ़ रहे हैं, तो विल स्टडी all three of those bills, and in way forward, the last way forward would be learn from the farm loss saga and ensure that future reforms in agri marketing comes in a consultative way. अभी हम आज agri marketing नहीं, आज our focus is on MSP, we are only talking about that. So wooing private investment, the farm laws were trying to do that. We'll have to again wait for some years and then we'll have to start wooing private investment. Further, FCI and NAFED will have to strengthen the supply chain mechanism to focus more on efficient distribution of procured food. Right now, because of this lack of efficient distribution, a lot of food grains are wasted, which is creating issues. Then, please note that these procurement schemes are only temporary solution. MSP regime, farmers को दिक्कत है तो government is coming and buying things. This is not how we want things to work in long run. In long run, systems should be such that farmers get right price from the market only. Government should be available for helping farmers, but situation should be such that वो availability की जरूरत ही ना पड़े. Right? Government should be available to help farmers, but situation should be such that we never need them. Our system should work efficiently to ensure right price for farmers, to ensure right price for consumers, to ensure the middlemen are not exploiting anyone. Okay, so here what would we need to do? For lasting impact, we need structural changes in agri marketing, in agri storage, in by bringing FPOs, by doing all those things, we need structural changes. Farming has to be made profitable by reducing production cost and improving returns. So, in summary, we need comprehensive production process and market approach through higher investment on market infrastructure, through processing, through value addition, and through agri businesses to ensure that farmers' welfare is the highest. Farmers' welfare is something that gets supported. Farmers get the right price, government subsidy burden goes down, government losses go down. फाइन, इसमें शायद एक टॉपिक था, वो हमने इंक्लूड नहीं किया बिकॉज इट वाज नॉट इन न्यूज. तो when we'll study it in target mains वाला section, so there we'll cover all those topics at one place. Statutory MSP demand, MSP को क्या legally binding कर देना चाहिए. This is one topic that we would study, and there would be arguments in support कि farmers would get right price and all those things, but it's not feasible, it's not possible, financially it's not possible. Then MSP itself has a lot of problems we have discussed. MSP has lots of issues, it will create all those problems. So legal guarantee of MSP is not feasible. Farmers may keep demanding it, but government, because it's not feasible, government may never do anything like that, and if government ends up for political reason doing that, it would be harmful for the country. क्योंकि कुछ एक ग्रुप आके प्रोटेस्ट करने लग जाता है, वो चीज मान लेना जरूरी नहीं है. Whatever is best for the country, that needs to be done. MSP has its problems. MSP should be a temporary solution. MSP regime kind of thing should be a temporary solution. Now, recently, एक 26 member committee बनी है called Sanjay Agrawal Committee. For what? For looking into three things. One, making MSP more effective and transparent. Other, promoting crop diversification. And third, making zero budget based natural farming more popular. Fine. अब यहाँ पे we are saying this committee has been formed, and this committee was is a 26 member committee, and it was also supposed to have 3 places for Samyukta Kisan Morcha SKM, the body which led the farm bill protest. But this body has said that we will not be sending our members to this committee. अपने अलग political reasons से छोड़ देते हैं. What is this committee supposed to do? This committee has 3 agendas: MSP, natural farming, and crop diversification. MSP पे it will be suggesting to make available MSP to farmers of the country by making the system more effective and transparent. Right now, MSP is not available to most of the farmers. How can we do that? Suggestion on practically to give more autonomy to Commission for Agriculture Cost and Price, CACP. Right now, it is controlled by government. How can it be made more autonomous? Strengthening agri market system. With farm bills gone, agri market is suffering. Agri market has its own limitations. This committee, abhi dekho, we are not going into the details of what this committee has said. This committee will come up with its recommendation, and that will become our subject of study. Here we are just saying कि what has government asked them to do. Fine. तो ये आप खुद से भी पढ़ेंगे तो आपको समझ में आ जाएगा. Government has asked them to do this. Prelims के लिए भी जब तक इनका रिपोर्ट नहीं आ जाता, this Sanjay Agrawal committee, what was the name of that? Sanjay Agrawal. Sanjay Agrawal committee is associated with which of the following? इस तरह से सवाल आएगा तो you should be able to answer that. If the report comes, that would be crucial for our mains examination, where we'll say, as recommended by Sanjay Agrawal committee, these are the things that should be done. Fine. Done. Let's go to थोड़े बड़े बड़े टॉपिक्स थे. Let's first नहीं, कल हमने GS2 के टॉपिक्स तो पढ़े थे ना. Let's do आज वाला बुकलेट, इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी वाला. हाँ नहीं, चलो let's finish this, then we'll do internal security. राज्यसभा. कोई बच्चा पूछ रहा है कि हाउ इज टर्म्स ऑफ ट्रेड गेटिंग अफेक्टेड बाय एमएसपी रिजीम। बेटा मार्केट फोर्सेस आर गेटिंग अफेक्टेड, नो। I was supposed to sell my product in market. Market was supposed to give me the price based on demand and supply. But right now, that's not the case. Farmer is not going to the market. Farmer is selling it at MSP to government. So it's affecting market forces. ऐसा नहीं होता। देखो सुनो सुनो सुनो, क्या होता है रेंटल जनरली, व्हाट इज द रेंटल दैट यू गेट इफ यू, तो रेंटल जनरल इज समथिंग, आपको बटाई पे शेयर क्रॉपिंग का हाफ ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट दैट यू विल गेट, राइट? दिस इज जनरली द रेंटल दैट यू गेट। तो स्वामीनाथन कमिटी मे हैव मेड द सच कैलकुलेशंस, उसमें जाना नहीं है क्योंकि दैट्स नॉट समथिंग दैट्स गेटिंग इम्प्लीमेंटेड। they are not going to ask you how did Swaminathan committee suggested ki C2 would be calculated. They're not going to ask you this anything in that much detail. But अगर पूछा जाएगा आपको कि how would you decide what should be the rental value, then you say कि sir generally rental is decided in this manner, we'll do it in this manner. A2 plus FL plus C2 method, जहां पे rental and depreciation should be kept in. अच्छा, when we say C2, there the cost is not only about rental cost is also associated with depreciation. Suppose a farmer has tractor, a farmer has other equipment, right? So in that year of agriculture, the cost of that capital would also depreciate. So that is also my cost that should be considered while considering the cost. Fine. Now come to this Rajya Sabha thing. पढ़ेंगे 8 बजे तक, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है ना? ब्रेक क्यों चाहिए बे? कितनी उम्र है तुम्हारी? अभी से बूढ़े हो जैसी बातें। पहले बीच में क्या होता था ना? 2 घंटे की क्लास में ब्रेक? पागल हो क्या? देखो, यू आर सपोज टू सिट फॉर 3 hours एट द टाइम ऑफ एग्जाम इन एग्जामिनेशन हॉल। 3 घंटे से कम में कुछ नहीं मिलना। जब क्लासेस 3 घंटे से ज्यादा की होंगी, देन यू एक्सपेक्ट अ ब्रेक। और ये ले तो रहे ही हो, हैं? अपनी मर्जी से आ रहे हो, जा रहे हो। कल से हम बीच में भी चेयर लगा दूंगा, किसी का आना जाना मुश्किल हो जाएगा। चलिए, राज्यसभा। राज्यसभा वॉज इन न्यूज रिसेंटली, जब राज्यसभा मेंबर्स वर गेटिंग इलेक्टेड इन June 2022 इन सम स्टेट्स, सम ऑफ द राज्यसभा सीट्स वर वेकेंट एंड वहां पे राज्यसभा इलेक्शंस इन राज्यसभा टुक प्लेस फॉर महाराष्ट्र, हरियाणा, राजस्थान एंड कर्नाटका। तो दिस डिटेल इज नॉट इंपॉर्टेंट किस किस स्टेट में हुआ था। व्हाट इज इंपॉर्टेंट इज what is Rajya Sabha, what is the role of Rajya Sabha in India's parliamentary democracy, and are they able to perform that role effectively? For mains examination, this is important. Briefly, you should know how members in Rajya Sabha get elected. Sometimes UPSC asks this kind of questions. For example, तो 2012 या 13 में उन्होंने पूछ लिया प्रेसिडेंट कैसे इलेक्ट होते हैं, है ना? ऐसे समटाइम्स फैक्चुअल क्वेश्चन में आल्सो गेट आस्क्ड, तो यू शुड बी प्रिपेयर्ड विद दैट। एंड एनीवेज, अभी हम जब वीकली टेस्ट वाला रिजीम देंगे आपको, तो उसमें ये वाला सेक्शन भी आएगा वेयर यू विल स्टडी डीडी बासु और लक्ष्मीकांत बहुत इफेक्टिवली। तो दोस फैक्चुअल थिंग्स यू वुड एनीवेज, यहाँ पे भी वी आर डूइंग इट, बट एनीवेज यू विल बी एबल टू डू इट वेरी प्रॉपरली। यू विल बी एबल टू, इफ यू फॉलो द टेस्ट सीरीज का प्लान, you will be able to revise them multiple times by examination. You will be able to solve several hundred questions on those topics by examination. Okay, see, I will not promise students कि 100% सिलेक्शन गारंटी या फीडबैक, ऐसे बहुत सारे प्रोग्राम्स लोग रन करते हैं। तो मुझे लगता है कि क्या, बट आई विल प्रॉमिस यू दिस, जो आपको पढ़ने के लिए दिया जा रहा है, सिलेबस पढ़ने के लिए दिया जा रहा है, बुक्स पढ़ने को, बेसिक बुक्स पढ़ने को रिकमेंड करी जा रही है, और जो आपको क्लास में पढ़ाया जा रहा है, उन चीजों में से जो सवाल आ रहे हैं एग्जामिनेशन में, इफ यू मेक दोस थिंग्स करेक्ट, यू विल डेफिनेटली गेट सिलेक्टेड। जितने क्वेश्चंस आपको प्रैक्टिस करने के लिए दिए जा रहे हैं, आप वो सारे क्वेश्चंस प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हो, उतने आंसर्स लिख रहे हो, हर रोज एक एक इंप्रूवमेंट भी कर रहे हो, यू विल क्लियर मेंस। मतलब मेंस में और भी एस्पेक्ट होंगे, आपका ऑप्शनल सब्जेक्ट कैसे अच्छा पढ़ा, वो सारी चीजें, बट आई कैन अश्योर यू दिस, आई विल नॉट से यहां पे आ जाओ 100% सिलेक्शन गारंटी, दैट विल बी अ स्कैम। जो ऐसा कोई आपको प्रॉमिस करता है, बोलो यार यू आर स्टार्टिंग इन एन अनएथिकल वे, यू नो दैट आपके बैच में से कोई भी सिलेक्ट नहीं हो रहा, फिर भी यू आर पब्लिशिंग थिंग्स लाइक दिस, तो डोंट डू दैट। बट आई कैन प्रॉमिस यू दिस, आपको जो असाइनमेंट मिलेगा आज शाम को, आपसे बोला जाएगा एनसीईआरटी के या फिर आपका जो भी सोर्स हो उसमें, स्टोन एज से अर्ली वैदिक तक आपको पढ़ना है टेस्ट के लिए, अगले टेस्ट के लिए आपको ये 2 बुकलेट्स भी पढ़नी है अगले टेस्ट के लिए, इससे भी हम कुछ ऑब्जेक्टिव क्वेश्चंस बना लेंगे। आप अगर ये पढ़ के रख रहे हो, जितने टेस्ट हो रहे हैं सारे देखो, इफ यू फॉलो द टेस्ट प्रॉपरली, आई वुड इंश्योर दैट यू आर रिवाइजिंग ऑल दीज बुकलेट्स मल्टीपल टाइम्स, एटलीस्ट 4-5 बार रिवाइज कर चुके होगे। हर बार टेस्ट से पहले बस एक बार रिवाइज कर लो, हर बार टेस्ट से पहले स्टैटिक पोर्शन जब भी वो आएगा, जैसे थिंक ऑफ दिस, अभी इन दिस वीक सपोज यू आर स्टडिंग फ्रॉम स्टोन एज टू हड़प्पन पीरियड, लेट्स से स्टोन एज टू हड़प्पन पीरियड तक हम जाते हैं। एट द एंड ऑफ द मंथ आई विल अगेन आस्क यू कि चलो आपका फुल टेस्ट है एंशिएंट इंडिया का, उस टाइम दोबारा पढ़ोगे, राइट? एंशिएंट मिडिवल, जब मिडिवल भी हो जाएगा फिर मैं एक फुल टेस्ट ले लूंगा, तीसरी बार सेम सिलेबस को पढ़ोगे, राइट? मान लो उसके बाद हम पॉलिटी पढ़ते हैं, पॉलिटी पूरा हो जाएगा तो फिर से पूरा सिलेबस करोगे, फिर हम पॉलिटी हिस्ट्री कंबाइन करके एक फुल टेस्ट भी ले लेंगे, तो यू विल स्टडी दीज थिंग्स अगेन, तो फॉलो द टेस्ट सीरियसली, you will be able to revise everything so many times. What happens is most of the students, पिछले बार हमारे करंट अफेयर्स प्रोग्राम में 1000 बच्चे थे, टेस्ट 40-50 बच्चे अटेम्प्ट करते थे। दिस itself showed that everyone was just following an haphazard plan, जहां पे कुछ भी प्रॉपर रिविजन, सब सोचते हैं मैं पढ़ लूंगा फिर टेस्ट दूंगा, कभी नहीं आता वो। आई एम अश्योरिंग यू दिस, इफ यू विल स्टार्ट मिसिंग टेस्ट, यू विल नॉट अटेम्प्ट मोस्ट ऑफ दोस टेस्ट। आप लोगों ने, जितने लोगों ने टेस्ट सीरीज करी होगी, कुछ भी करा होगा, लाइक हम राइटिंग वाली टेस्ट सीरीज ज्वाइन करते हैं, आई हैव स्टैट्स, जो ईयर लॉन्ग टेस्ट सीरीज बच्चे ज्वाइन करते हैं ना, 90% ऑफ द टेस्ट आर नेवर अटेम्प्टेड। जो मेंस के, प्रीलिम्स के बाद जो बच्चे टेस्ट सीरीज ज्वाइन करते हैं ना, मेंस वाला, पीपल हु आर राइटिंग मेंस दैट ईयर, देयर आल्सो 80% ऑफ द टेस्ट आर नॉट अटेम्प्टेड, 80% even in the optional subject. We are running 5 optional subjects, टेस्ट सीरीज फॉर 5 ऑप्शनल सब्जेक्ट्स। एक प्रोग्राम है जिसमें 200 बच्चे हैं टेस्ट सीरीज में, दैट देयर आर 10 टेस्ट, तो वी शुड गेट 2000 पेपर्स, 200 बच्चे 10 टेस्ट, वी शुड गेट 2000 पेपर्स इन द एंटायर टेस्ट सीरीज फ्रेम, वी गेट 300 पेपर्स हार्डली। दिस शोज दैट आप एक डिसिप्लिन के साथ कुछ भी फॉलो नहीं कर रहे। सो मेक अ प्लान, नॉट अकॉर्डिंग टू दिस बट एट योर ओन ऑल्सो। अगर आपको हमारे टेस्ट सीरीज का प्लान सूट नहीं करेगा, मेक अ प्लान एंड स्टिक टू इट, जान लगा दो उसे फॉलो करने में। एवरी टॉपर हैज अ डिफरेंट स्ट्रैटेजी, द ओनली डिफरेंस इज बट दे आर गेटिंग सेलेक्टेड बिकॉज दे आर मेकिंग अ स्ट्रैटेजी एंड दे आर स्टिकिंग टू इट। हमारी क्या आदत है पढ़ते टाइम, वी वुड स्टडी समथिंग, वी वुड हैव अ प्लान, बट नेक्स्ट डे हमारे कंफर्ट के हिसाब से विल पिक समथिंग एल्स, आज ये पढ़ने का मन नहीं कर। व्हेन यू हैव मेड अ प्लान, स्टिक टू इट, और सिट देयर, मॉडिफाई दैट प्लान एंड देन स्टिक टू दैट मॉडिफाइड प्लान, बट डोंट चेंज थिंग्स रैंडमली कि मैंने अभी ये नहीं किया, आई विल डू इट लेटर, आई विल डू दिस यहां पे, आई विल डू दिस वहां पे, दिस विल क्रिएट प्रॉब्लम्स, देन यू विल एंड अप नॉट डूइंग एनीथिंग। फाइन, लेट्स स्टार्ट द राज्यसभा वाला थिंग। तो बिकॉज वी आर फोकस्ड ऑन थोड़ा मेंस एग्जामिनेशन, ज्यादातर वैसा ही है कि हाउ वुड यू इंट्रोड्यूस योर आंसर, यू वी वुड से दैट राज्यसभा इज द अपर हाउस ऑफ द बाइकैमरल पार्लियामेंट ऑफ इंडिया, इट्स अ परमानेंट हाउस, इट कैन नॉट बी डिसॉल्व्ड। व्हाट हैपेंस इज 1/3 of its member retire or not retire, retire, or their term ends, the term of 1/3 of the members end every 2 years. So the election for those 1/3 members have to happen every 2 years. So there are 245 members in Rajya Sabha. 12 of them are nominated by President. This nomination is on the basis of their special knowledge or practical experience in the field of literature, science, social science, etc. 233 members are representatives of the states, and that's why Rajya Sabha is also called Council of States. They are representatives of the states, and states में जो MLA हैं elected, some MLAs may be nominated, elected MLAs participate in the election of Rajya Sabha members. Now before we go to कि राज्य सभा में कैसे इलेक्शन होता है, for mains examination you should know the significance, why Rajya Sabha is important, why Rajya Sabha is crucial. कि will we be able to introduce, अगर एक क्वेश्चन राज्य सभा पे आता है, will we be able to introduce राज्य सभा, चाहे राज्य सभा के कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल प्रोविजन से शुरू कर दो या बोल दो कि हमारा बाइकैमरल पार्लियामेंट है, उसमें वन ऑफ द परमानेंट हाउसेस राज्य सभा. दिस इज अ गुड इनफ इंट्रोडक्शन. नाउ significance of Rajya Sabha, why Rajya Sabha is important. Rajya Sabha is institutionalizing the federal principle in India. India is a quasi-federal democracy, right? जो फेडरल प्रिंसिपल है, it is institutionalized through राज्य सभा. Why? स्टेट्स का रिप्रेजेंटेशन, स्टेट्स को रिप्रेजेंट करने के लिए there's a house. Look at all the federal countries in the world. USA, Australia, these all federal countries, they have a second house. They are, this second house acts as representatives of the state. This ensures that when in law making यूनियन लिस्ट के सब्जेक्ट पे भी लॉ बन रहा है, तब भी क्या हो रहा है, स्टेट्स के इंटरेस्ट आर नॉट हार्म्ड, राइट? तो दिस इज द मोस्ट, देखो जब when we study राज्यसभा फ्रॉम बुक्स लाइक लक्ष्मीकांत एंड ऑल, नो वी गेट राज्यसभा के बहुत सारे सिग्निफिकेंस, बट कई बार ना कोर एरियाज मिस हो जाते हैं. दिस इज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट सिग्निफिकेंस ऑफ राज्यसभा. व्हाई राज्यसभा इज इंपॉर्टेंट? It is institutionalizing federal principle of power sharing between center and state. It acts as a safety valve within the legislature itself, easing federal tensions. Then general चीजें which you will get in every book. It reviews and reevaluates various bills. Government कोई bill लेके आया, because government has majority in Lok Sabha, it may quickly be able to get it passed, है ना? राज्यसभा में भी इट मे हैव मेजॉरिटी, इट मे नॉट हैव मेजॉरिटी, बट स्टिल देयर इज अ सेकंड प्लेटफॉर्म वेयर इश्यूज मे बी डिस्कस्ड अगेन. हेस्टी डिसीजन मेकिंग कुड बी reduced. It enhances deliberation because there is another platform where discussion debates would take place. It also provides platform for non-political talent and expertise. Like in law making, we do not only need people who are popular. We need people who are experts. We need people जो politically शायद बहुत votes नहीं ले सकते हैं, but MLAs know कि this guy can be a significant person, can better represent the interest of the people of the state effectively. So how do we make those people come in law making? Through the second house. राज्यसभा में popular voting से नहीं आते लोग. We do not vote for choosing राज्यसभा MPs who are choosing, they are indirectly elected, and thus non-political talent and expertise may also come here. Reality में ऐसा हो नहीं रहा है, but this may happen. Then because first past the post system नहीं है, तो vulnerable section के representation का scope भी बढ़ जाता है. You have some doubt? Yes.
Sir, for nomination in Rajya Sabha, the criteria given.
Yes.
Sports is not one of them, but most of the time sports personality are getting nominated, like Medicom and PT Usha. So isn't that violate?
No, it's not. Actually, see, जो the criteria which are given, no, in those criteria only this aspect may also be getting covered. है ना? एक बार मुझे देखना पड़ेगा कि किस आर्ट्स वाले में डाल रहे हैं. हाँ, तो they are including them like that. ठीक है, it's not that big a issue. See, spirit is not being violated, है ना? स्पिरिट ऑफ दोज आइडियाज की नॉमिनेटेड मेंबर्स वो होने चाहिए जो किसी फील्ड के एक्सपर्ट हों और उस फील्ड के एक्सपर्टीज दे विल बी एबल टू ब्रिंग इन लॉ मेकिंग. दैट स्पिरिट इज नॉट बीइंग वायलेटेड, तो इट्स नॉट दैट बिग एन इशू. स्पिरिट इज बीइंग वायलेटेड वेयर जब कोई नॉमिनेटेड मेंबर एक पुराना पॉलिटिशियन आ जाए. अ पॉलिटिकल पर्सन गेट्स नॉमिनेटेड देयर. जज, if a judge becomes a nominated member, वहां पे you are violating the spirit of the constitution. Let's come back to this. Representation to vulnerable section can be ensured by Rajya Sabha, and finally Rajya Sabha has also been given some special powers. Special powers जहां पे states interest may get violated or may get affected, only Rajya Sabha can decide. Sometimes when parliament has to make laws on subject mentioned in the state list, राज्यसभा में एक resolution by 2/3 of the members present and voting has to be passed. When Rajya Sabha allows it, it's basically majority of the states have allowed you because they are representatives of the states. So Rajya Sabha has some special powers. Rajya Sabha can decide when Parliament may make laws on state subject. Rajya Sabha may decide for setting up of more all India services. Right now, how many all India services are there? 3, right? कल ऑल इंडिया जुडिशियल सर्विस भी बना देते हैं मान लीजिए, बट ऑल इंडिया जुडिशियल सर्विस विल बी प्लेइंग रोल्स इन स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स ऑल्सो. तो वहां पे बनाने के लिए राज्यसभा फर्स्ट हैज टू पास अ रेजोल्यूशन. हाँ, नहीं, राज्यसभा ने पास नहीं किया है, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में डाला गया है कि राज्यसभा ऑल इंडिया सर्विसेज इंक्लूडिंग ऑल इंडिया जुडिशियल सर्विस बना सकता है. राज्यसभा ने वो रेजोल्यूशन पास नहीं किया. 42nd कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट या 44th कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट से ये डाला गया था कि राज्यसभा अंडर आर्टिकल 312 ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में क्रिएट मोर ऑल इंडिया सर्विसेज इंक्लूडिंग ऑल इंडिया जुडिशियल सर्विस. ये किया गया है. राज्यसभा ने रेजोल्यूशन अभी पास. देन देयर इज वन मोर स्पेशल पावर विथ राज्यसभा. इन केस लोकसभा इज डिसॉल्व्ड एंड इमरजेंसी इज डिक्लेयर्ड, तो इमरजेंसी हैज टू बी रैटिफाइड बाय द पार्लियामेंट. जब तक लोकसभा डजंट कम इनटू सेशन, तब तक राज्यसभा शुड एटलीस्ट approve it. If Rajya Sabha is not approving it, it's gone. So Rajya Sabha has, because Rajya Sabha is a permanent house, it would always be there, it will never be dissolved, so at least it should approve the declaration of emergency. So these are some special some significances of Rajya Sabha. तो देखो राज्यसभा पे जब सवाल आए ना, तो यू डू नॉट टेक इट, अरे ये क्या फालतू सी चीज पूछ दी है. राइट इट प्रॉपरली, राइट वेरियस डायमेंशंस ऑफ सिग्निफिकेंस ऑफ राज्यसभा. नाउ हाउ डू मेंबर्स इन राज्यसभा गेट इलेक्टेड? इन अ सिंगल लाइन आई विल ट्राई टू समराइज इट. दे आर इलेक्टेड बाय इनडायरेक्ट इलेक्शन, क्योंकि हम वोट नहीं कर रहे, आवर रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स आर वोटिंग, आवर एमएलएज आर वोटिंग बाय द इलेक्टेड मेंबर्स ऑफ लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबलीज ऑफ ईच स्टेट. Here, यहाँ पे states में we are also including the union territories. Here, the method of proportional representation by means of single transferable vote method is used. Now, what is this proportional representation? सबको पता ही होगा, फिर भी I'll briefly tell you. Let's say there are 10 Rajya Sabha members, or let's simplify करते हैं, 5 Rajya Sabha members who are supposed to get elected from a state जहाँ पे there are 100 members in the legislative assembly. So let's say 20 members are from political party 1, 40 members are from political party 2, 40 members are from political party 3. And अगर 5 राज्यसभा members elect होने हैं, तो proportional representation means that 40% of them would be from this party, 40% of them would be from this party, and 20% of them would be from this party. So 5 का 40% is 2 to 1. This is proportional representation. This is proportional representation. Fine? सबको समझ में आया? Okay. Now consider this. 5 लोग थे, but यहाँ पे there were 2 political parties with 10 seats and 10 seats. So they get 2 and 2 members. बट एक मेंबर और इलेक्ट होना है, राइट? एंड नन ऑफ देम हैव, इन दोनों के पास 5% एमएलएज ही हैं, सॉरी 10% एमएलएज हैं, वेयर एज यू नीडेड 20% फॉर वन. डू वी ऑल अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज सिंगल ट्रांसफरेबल वोट? द फर्स्ट वोट वुड बी कंसिडर्ड. अगर उसमें से यू आर नॉट एबल टू गेट इनफ वोट, देन सेकेंड वोट्स वुड बी कंसिडर्ड एंड दैट वुड बी काउंटेड. So that is single transferable vote wala mechanism would be used in such situations. Okay, so the entire process of election in Rajya Sabha can be explained by this slide. Elections are indirect by the elected members of Legislative Assembly through through the method of proportional representation and single transferable votes. राइट? आपके आंसर में चारों कीवर्ड होने चाहिए और चारों अंडरलाइंड होने चाहिए. ओनली दैट वुड इंश्योर दैट एग्जामिनर को आप बता पा रहे हो भाई मुझे सब आता है. टाइम है, स्पेस है, तो एक एग्जाम्पल भी बना देना. राइट? जस्ट टू इंप्रूव योर presentation and tell the examiner ki yes I know it perfectly. But come to criticism. Rajya Sabha has some significances, Rajya Sabha has some advantages, but Rajya Sabha is also criticized for a number of reasons. First of all, because it's not directly elected, it's not directly accountable to people. It's not that tomorrow Rajya Sabha does something which is not as per in a democracy, they should be working for the people. But because they're not accountable to people, it may impact their performance. Second, there is no equal representation of states. Now go to federal polities all over the world. US में how many states are there? 50. Each state have two members in their upper house. हर state को equal status दिया गया है. In a federal polity, every state is equal. Whereas that's not the case in India. The states with higher population has much higher number of member in Rajya Sabha. The states with lower population has much lower numbers of member in Rajya Sabha. Then recently money bill mechanism has been used a lot to bypass Rajya Sabha and all the significances of Rajya Sabha. Next topic is that only, money bill mechanism wala. And in fact जो आज का बुकलेट मिला है उसमें भी सुप्रीम कोर्ट जजमेंट इज रेफरिंग टू मनी बिल वाला इशू. We'll talk about that too. Then it has become a placement mechanism for losing candidates rather than getting experts from various field in that area. What we are doing is, if someone has not been able to win Lok Sabha election through Rajya Sabha, make that person come in the parliament. And finally, nominated members haven't been generally very active. We bring big cricketers, we bring film stars, we bring scientists as nominated members, but their role as lawmakers has been very less. Most of the time attendance is missing, their participation in the discussion debates is not there. They go there like celebrities. रेखा जी जाएंगी, सब उन्हें देखेंगे, वो हाथ जोड़ते हुए जाएंगे और हाथ जोड़ते हुए वापस आ जाएंगी. Right? So it hasn't been very effective. But despite all these limitations, राज्य सभा is important. हमने देखा है, तो वही हमने राज्य सभा का significance समझा है. तो in spite of all these shortcomings, राज्य सभा has remained vanguard for political and social values and a melting point of cultural values. Along with Lok Sabha, it's a flag bearer of sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. Thus, all efforts should be taken to enable Rajya Sabha to retain its significant role in India's parliamentary democracy. And here, money bill mechanism से जो हम sideline कर रहे हैं राज्य सभा को, those kind of things should also not happen. A 7-judge constitutional bench has been created for this purpose. Money bill वाले issue पे that should expedite the process and come up with its judgment as soon as possible. Is whip, देखो nominated members तो किसी पार्टी के नहीं होते ना, तो whip कैसे applicable होगा? If they join a political party, then whip would be applicable, right? हाँ, yes. पर जनरली नॉमिनेशन क्या होता है ना, गवर्नमेंट अपने ही लोगों को नॉमिनेट करती है, तो वो उनको ही वोट कर रहे होते हैं. फाइन. राज्यसभा देखो, आप लोगों ने राज्यसभा पहले भी पढ़ा होगा, आपने लक्ष्मीकांत पढ़ा होगा, डीडी बासु पढ़ा होगा, बट आफ्टर स्टडिंग इट हियर आर यू रियलाइजिंग कि मेन सेंट्रिक हमने पढ़ा. व्हाट आर गुड थिंग्स, व्हाट आर लिमिटेशंस, अ कंक्लूजन एंड इंट्रोडक्शन, है ना. अ प्रैक्टिस क्वेश्चन हैज आल्सो बीन गिवन. आज का आंसर हमने लिखा नहीं आएगा, एक एक आंसर लिख के जाओगे सब लोग, ठीक है. बट फर्स्ट लेट्स कवर मनी बिल. issue of bill being passed as money bill. अच्छा, money bill, does anyone know the background? Why did we have to divide bills into ordinary bill, between ordinary bill and money bill? Money bill की जरूरत क्यों पड़ी? Anyone with political science background or anything like that? कोई बताना चाहेगा? Okay. Meenu has a good point, the genuine point. How is government formed? Government is formed by majority in Lok Sabha, right? People have elected government that way. Government needs money to run the government, to govern and to do administration. But in order to get any money, you have to get a bill passed in parliament. You have to get a bill passed in parliament. Government may not have majority in Rajya Sabha, and अगर राज्य सभा उस बिल को पास नहीं करता है जो पैसे निकालने के लिए बिल है, government's function stops then and there. So this situation came in 1909 in United Kingdom. उससे पहले ना bill was not divided between ordinary bill and money bill. 1909 में क्या हुआ यूनाइटेड किंगडम में? हाउस ऑफ कॉमन passed a bill. The upper house there did not pass the bill, and they realized, shit, in spite of we having majority, people's mandate, we are not able to run government. So they changed their laws. Does United Kingdom has a constitution? No, they don't have. So they changed their laws. We are not saying they changed their constitution. They changed their laws to bring two kinds of bill. Ordinary bill, जो दोनों हाउसेस में पास होगा, but money bill need not be passed in the money bill need not have consent from Rajya Sabha. Money bill only has to be passed by the house of the lower house of common, और अपने केस में लोकसभा. Did we all understand this? तो थोड़ा सा ना कॉन्टेक्स्ट रहता है ना, तो वी अंडरस्टैंड द सिग्निफिकेंस. आप लक्ष्मीकांत पढ़ेंगे तो ये कॉन्टेक्स्ट नहीं अवेलेबल है वहां कि वाई मनी बिल मे बी नए वाले वॉल्यूम्स में अवेलेबल हो. व्हेन आई यूज्ड टू प्रिपेयर तो आई हैड द 5th एडिशन, उसमें नहीं है. अभी कौन सा एडिशन चल रहा है? 6th ही चल रहा है. ऊपर जा चुका है. मैं थोड़ा पुराना हो गया. हाँ, उसमें भी नहीं है ना, तो अच्छी बात है. मेरी क्लास में किसी बहाने तो आओगे. फाइन. तो अंडरस्टूड द कॉन्टेक्स्ट. व्हाई डिड वी नीड टू डिफरेंशिएट मनी बिल फ्रॉम other kinds of bill? तो जब इंडिया was making its our constituent assembly was making its constitution, sir will you be available tomorrow morning at the center? भाई अवेलेबल तो रहूंगा, मिल नहीं पाऊंगा. मेंस वाले बैच है ना, आपको मुझसे मिलना है या 20th अगस्त तक मत ही मिलो. चलो, इफ यू वांट टू मीट मी, कम एट 5 PM, नॉट 5 PM, 5:30 PM. 5:30 PM to 5:45 PM के बीच में आ जाओ. who's there? 103 कुशल बैनर्जी. he was not able to find कुशल बैनर्जी, तो बेचारे ने 101 10 सब ट्राई किया होगा. 103 कुशल बैनर्जी, come at 5:30 PM in the office tomorrow, I'll be available. सर थोड़ा अजीब डाउट है, बट सर आप मेरे को कोई पेन सजेस्ट कर सकते हो? उंगली दर्द करती है, सस्ता वाला यूज करता हूं, तो आप कोई बता दो. और चप्पल भी पूछ ले कौन सी पहनेगा. पैरों में दर्द हो रहा है? ऐसा बोले कि सर मेरे पापा चप्पल से जब मुझे पीटते हैं तो बहुत दर्द होता है, कोई सॉफ्ट वाली सजेस्ट कर दो, है ना. 5 मिनट्स. हाँ, कल 5:30 आ जाइएगा कुशल बैनर्जी जी. कल 5:30 आ जाइएगा. अगर 5 मिनट ही मिलना है तो सुबह भी आ जाइएगा. आई ट्राई टू फाइंड आउट समटाइम. हाँ, तो मनी बिल का कॉन्टेक्स्ट इज क्लियर कि व्हाई मनी बिल काइंड ऑफ प्रोविजंस हैव टू बी ब्रॉट. क्वेश्चन विद रिस्पेक्ट टू लास्ट टॉपिक, राज्यसभा पूछिए. देखो फिर से समझो, if Karnataka MLAs are deciding this person is our representative, it is the state of Karnataka or the legislative body of Karnataka which has decided. Yes, you are right, sir. Practically, this doesn't happen. Manmohan Singh gets elected from some other state, right? This happens practically. Practically, this is not being implemented on ground in the manner in which it was hoped. But theoretically, the idea was that no, right? In most of the cases, that's happening also. Okay, let's come back to this. Issue of bills being passed as money bill. So now for money bill, our Constitution of India provided special provisions, that is money bill needs to get majority support only in Lok Sabha. Even if Rajya Sabha doesn't pass it, doesn't matter. Rajya Sabha can only give recommendation, you make these changes. Lok Sabha may or may not accept those changes. So if Lok Sabha is saying money bill is passed, it effectively gets passed. Rajya Sabha has been given very less role in case of money bill. But what if now government decides, let us get all the laws passed this money bill? It would then sideline the entire Rajya Sabha and the role of Rajya Sabha. This is the issue that we want to discuss. Recently, a lot of complaints have come where constitutional experts say that Rajya Sabha is being sidelined and government, especially when they did not have majority in Rajya Sabha. Today the government has majority in Rajya Sabha as well. When they did not have majority in Rajya Sabha, declared a lot of things as money bill and got it passed. This is the issue that we want to discuss. So, सबसे पहले let's understand what is money bill. So, as per Article 110 of the Constitution, a bill is deemed to be money bill if it contains only, I've kept this only in bold, इसे highlight कर लो बहुत ध्यान से, if it contains only provisions dealing with all or any of the following subjects, any of the following matters. Constitution, Article 110 of the Constitution बोल रहा है, a bill would be money bill if it has matters which are all or any of these, only, nothing more than this. It should only have these matters. What are the matters? Matters related to taxes, matter related to borrowing, matter related to custody of Consolidated Fund of India, Contingency Fund of India, appropriation of money out of Consolidated Fund of India, expenditure charged on the Consolidated Fund, or deciding which expenditure would be charged on Consolidated Fund of India, receipt of money on account of Consolidated Fund of India, and other incidental matter which are related to this. Only these matters should be included in a money bill. If something else is included there, it doesn't remain money bill. This is what Constitution of India says because of the word only. Article 110 का clause 3 says that speaker's decision would be final on deciding which bill is money bill. But speaker has to follow the spirit of the Constitution. So these should be kept in mind. Article 122 says that courts will not be able to inquire into the proceedings of Parliament. So it basically is trying to say that speaker's decision is final. It's part of the court's Parliament's proceeding, and court will not interfere into it. Court will not question a speaker, how come you declare this bill as money bill when it has other matters. Fine, ये सब clear है. Why money bill provision was brought, ये हमने पढ़ लिया है. And since the power of Rajya Sabha in matters of money bill is much lesser, recently there have been various bills which have been passed in as money bills but had a lot of other provisions. For example, सबसे important है Aadhaar Bill 2016. Aadhaar Bill was passed as money bill, and it had a lot of other provisions. For example, it had provisions that Aadhaar would be required for these purposes. Now Aadhaar यहाँ यूज होगा, ये कानून में डाल रहे हैं हम. इज इट रेफरिंग टू ओनली मैटर्स मेंशन्ड इन आर्टिकल 110? नो, इट्स गोइंग beyond that. This also included provisions related to RBI for the formation of Monetary Policy Committee. RBI Act was amended to form Monetary Policy Committee. It also amended Foreign Contribution Regulation Act with, sorry, हाँ, फाइनेंस बिल 2016, आधार बिल हो गया, आधार तो आधार वाला था, फाइनेंस बिल 2016 जो बजट के साथ जाता है, बजटरी प्रोविजंस के अलावा इट इंक्लूडेड आरबीआई एक्ट का अमेंडमेंट, इट इंक्लूडेड एफसीआरए का अमेंडमेंट. सिमिलरली फाइनेंस बिल 2017 which is brought as money bill, it included provisions related to structure and organization of tribunals. The tribunals में क्या क्या qualification चाहिए होंगी, these kind of things were provided for. Similarly, Finance Bill 2019 amended provisions related to Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Now, Prevention of Money Laundering Act is not, the subject matter there is not mentioned in 110, like it has matters which are beyond the things which are listed in 110. So, a lot of things are being done through Finance Bill, which is basically a money bill, but is including other matters also. These are a lot of examples. Aadhaar bill ka example, फिर Finance Bill 2016 का example, Finance Bill 2017, Finance Bill 2019. They are including other amendments to other acts जो पहले money bill नहीं थे. देखो, when Prevention of Money Laundering Act was passed in 2002, was it passed as money bill? No, it was not passed as money bill. Means it has matters which are not only those matters. तो अभी इसे फाइनेंस बिल में डाल के आप मनी बिल कैसे कर सकते हो? इफ इट हैज सब्जेक्ट मैटर विच इज बियॉन्ड दैट, राइट? तो आधार बिल वाज चैलेंज्ड इन सुप्रीम कोर्ट in 2016 and the constitutional bench of Supreme Court said that no, it is a money bill. By majority judgment, a constitutional bench of Supreme Court by 4:1 judgment said that it is money bill. It said that as long as the main focus of the bill fit the criteria, as long as the main focus of the bill is fitting the Article 110 wala criteria, it may do some other things also, but if its main focus is focused on those lists, it would be considered money bill. This was by majority judgment, not by unanimous judgment. One of the judges gave a dissenting judgment, Justice Chandrachud, and he said superseding the authority of Rajya Sabha is in conflict with the constitutional scheme and the legitimacy of democratic institution. He pointed to an important word in provision 1 of the Article 110 only. The article says that mainly ye hona chahiye, nahi. That article says only these matters should be there. But a constitutional bench said that it is a money bill. Constitutional bench of the Supreme Court said that no, Aadhaar bill is a money bill because the main subject matter is related to expenditure and all that. But then came 2019 में Roger Matthews versus South Indian Bank Limited and others. What was this matter? Finance Bill 2017 याद है? Finance Bill 2017 में what did we do? We made changes in the tribunal system. We made changes in the tribunal system. Those changes were questioned in the Supreme Court. In Roger Matthews versus South Indian Bank Limited and others, the Supreme Court declared a lot of those changes as wrong. At the same time, Supreme Court said that Aadhaar, so Supreme Court declared these changes as wrong on other grounds, not on the money bill ground. On other grounds, हम जब tribunalization पढ़ेंगे तो हम उसे समझेंगे, but it declared these changes wrong, these changes unconstitutional, and asked government to come up with new changes within 6 months. At the same time, in this judgment, Supreme Court also said that it is clear to us that the majority dictum in the Aadhaar judgment, majority judgment Aadhaar wale case mein, did not substantially discuss the effect of the word only in Article 1101 and offers little guidance on the repercussions of finding when some of the provisions of an enactment passed as a money bill do not conform to Article 1101A. the court was dissatisfied with the Aadhaar judgment in the Aadhaar case was K. Puttaswamy case. Aadhaar judgment in the K. Puttaswamy case, it had dealt with the issue of what could be certified as money bill. But this judgment, Roger Matthews judgment, could not override the Aadhaar judgment because they were both benches of equal size. Aadhaar judgment भी एक 5 जज बेंच ने दिया, Roger Matthews केस भी एक 5 जज बेंच हेयर कर रहा था. So what they said, the court has thus also raised question of whether the Finance Act 2017 could have been passed as money bill. The matter has been referred to a larger 7 judge bench. इन्होंने ट्रिब्यूनल्स में 2017 में, February 2017 में, they made changes in the tribunal through money bill mechanism. So they said that this is also questionable. They declared those provisions as unconstitutional on other grounds, but they said that this is also something that is questionable, and the matter has been referred to a 7 judge constitutional bench. Fine, ये बात समझ में आ गई. In January 2021, again Supreme Court में a number of petitions were there which were challenging the Aadhaar judgment, but Supreme Court dismissed all those petitions. Supreme Court dismissed a series of petitions seeking a review of its 2018 judgment upholding Lok Sabha Speaker's certification of Aadhaar law as money bill. A number of matter went to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court dismissed those matters. Here again, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud dissented with the majority, saying that Aadhaar review petition should be kept pending. That is, he basically said, जब तक 7 judge bench अपना judgment नहीं दे देता, till the time 7 judge bench is not giving this judgment, all these review petitions should be kept pending. After that 7 judge bench judgment, these review petitions पे we can take a call. Dismissing the Aadhaar review even before the 7 judge bench got a chance to apply its mind and arrive at a verdict would amount to judicial indiscipline and have adverse consequences. जब एक 7 judge bench उस matter को सुन रहा है and you are dismissing that matter, it will amount to judicial indiscipline. A larger bench is still to take a call on that, and you are saying dismiss it. It would amount to judicial indiscipline. In July 2022, let's come to today's scenario. In July 2022, constitutionality of Amendment to Prevention of Money Laundering Act was challenged through a number of petitions. 40 plus petitions थे सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जिन्होंने प्रिवेंशन ऑफ मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग एक्ट के में कुछ अमेंडमेंट्स किए गए हैं. Those amendments were challenged. Those petitions were brought by people from different walks of life, but mostly politicians, because ED recently has been used as a political tool regularly. So those amendments were challenged in the Supreme Court. Supreme Court has upheld the amendment. Supreme Court has upheld the amendment कि वो amendment सही है, दो वो amendment constitutional है. Supreme Court has upheld Prevention of Money Laundering Act, but at the same time Supreme Court has said कि the changes in Prevention of Money Laundering Act were brought by Finance Bill. That matter would be decided by 7 judge constitutional bench. Could be passed as part of Finance Bill will be determined. यहाँ पे question, if the amendment to PMLA could be passed as part of Finance Bill will be determined by a larger bench. तो आपका जो next booklet है वो PMLA पे ही है, उसमें we are discussing that judgment in detail. But when it comes to GS paper 2, PMLA is money laundering is a subject which is mentioned as part of your internal security syllabus. But money bill is something that you study with Parliament, and that's why we have covered it in GS2. So what is the conclusion and what is the way forward here? एक चीज we can conclude, एक second दे दीजिए. एक चीज we can conclude is it is clearly visible that a number of bills are getting passed as money bill which should not be money bill. देखो common sense है, if Prevention of Money Laundering Act was not a money bill in 2002, was not satisfying the criteria of Article 110, how can today it be satisfying the criteria? Right? A 5-judge bench by majority has said that Aadhaar bill was money bill, but at the same time in Roger Matthews case also a 5-judge bench has said that the Puttaswamy judgment or the Aadhaar judgment में judges did not consider the significance of the word only. Fine. So way forward में one thing that we'll say is the 7-judge bench should expedite the process and give a final verdict on whether this kind of declaration of bills as money bill, when the primary concern of the bill is satisfying the Article 110 provisions, is constitutional or not. But at the same time, in way forward, we also have to talk about the fact that Speaker decided that the bill is money bill. It was because Speaker came from the majority political party. It was because the Speaker came from majority political party. But Speaker is not the leader of that political party in the House. Speaker is the leader of the House. And Speaker should function neutrally. Speaker is not leader of the majority political party or leader of the opposition party. Speaker is the leader of the House. If we want our Lok Sabha to function effectively, the leader should be a person who's respected, who's unbiased, who's neutral. Only then the House would be able to function properly, and only when the House is able to function properly, our democracy is able to function properly. So what should be done? In way forward, we would also suggest mechanisms to make the office of Speaker more neutral. And here we are suggesting resignation. We should follow the system which is followed in Britain. In Britain, whenever someone is elected as Speaker, that person resigns from the political party. So who's the Speaker right now? Om Birla. He comes from BJP. But if he was if we were following the British system, the moment he became Speaker, he would have resigned from the party. You would say, sir, if party se resign kiya to anti-defection law lag jayega na. Right? Anti-defection law में there's an exception which says that Speaker या Deputy Speaker अपने party से resign कर रहे हैं तो you don't get disqualified. नहीं भी होता तो amendment करके कर देते ना. That's not that big a deal. It would not have violated the basic structure of the constitution. Fine. First, you resign from the political party. Second, you are guaranteed a continuity in office. What is this guarantee of continuity in office? जब तक आप speaker रहना चाहोगे, you will remain speaker. That is, when you win the next election and come to the house, you are not from the majority political party, but still you will be the speaker. Once a speaker, always a speaker. Speaker for lifetime. This is something that is crucial for ensuring neutrality. Else, what would happen if Om Birla ji resigns from BJP and works as a speaker neutrally and is not supporting the majority political party? Next time, after election, if BJP is in majority in Lok Sabha, they would not choose Om Birla. They would not choose Om Birla. And that's why speaker for life is something that's suggested here, guarantee of the continuity in office, जब तक वो रहना चाह रहे हैं. Then election campaign on non-political issue. In Britain, it is followed that speaker Om Birla ji is from Kota. So when he'll be contesting election in Kota, he would be contesting election. I want to continue in the office as speaker. I worked as a good speaker. Vote for me because I would be speaker again and making parliament or making Lok Sabha function properly again. And as a convention, major political parties do not field candidates against this person. 2020 में मेंस में क्वेश्चन आया था स्पीकर के न्यूट्रलिटी पे कि स्पीकर फॉर लाइफ या समथिंग लाइक दिस, एंड दे वर आस्किंग यू टू डिस्कस दीज थिंग्स कि हाउ कैन वी मेक द ऑफिस ऑफ स्पीकर मोर न्यूट्रल. तो ब्रिटिश सिस्टम में these are the things which are followed. There are some more things that could be done, some other things that could be done. A speaker right now can be removed by 50% of the total member. नहीं, सिंपल मेजोरिटी से अपॉइंट होता है, इलेक्ट होता है, बट रिमूवल के लिए टोटल मेंबर्स जितने हैं उनका 50% प्लस 1 रिमूवल के लिए चाहिए. इट्स कॉल्ड आई थिंक एब्सोल्यूट मेजोरिटी, है ना. तो आई डू नॉट अंडरस्टैंड दीज एब्सोल्यूट सिंपल, मेरे नंबर्स पता है. तो because constitution also doesn't use these words, absolute or special. Constitution doesn't use these words, so always try to refer it by proper numbers. So speaker could be removed by that majority. Here we are saying that speaker removal procedure should be made more stringent. Instead of 50% of total membership, allow speaker to be removed only by special majority, so that majority political party will not have a lot of control. Kal Om Birla ji becomes neutral and start functioning neutrally. The majority, there's a political party which has majority in Lok Sabha. कोई भी एक पार्टी होगी जो गवर्नमेंट बनाएगी, उनके पास मेजॉरिटी होगी, दिल से रिमूव बिरला जी. We have the votes. So removal of speaker should be made more difficult in order to ensure neutrality of the speaker. Then some other suggestions are there. Whether a bill is money bill or not, that should not be determined by just the speaker. Because even after doing all this, Birla ji has been in BJP from childhood. है ना, दिल तो है ना वहां, तो थोड़ा सा biasness होगा. Can we come up with a different mechanism where a committee where we have members from different political parties, they are deciding whether the bill should be declared money bill or not. Then एक और suggestion है, opposition party should also play constructive role in the Rajya Sabha. When Rajya Sabha is disrupted, the government thinks that Rajya Sabha में काम हो नहीं रहा, let's make it money bill, Rajya Sabha जाने की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ेगी. These are some of the things that we can say in way forward to reduce the misuse of money bill provision. Fine. Again, these are some things that you would not study in Lakshmikant. That's why we have covered it here. Lakshmikant basics पढ़िए, आपको प्री के लिए प्रिपेयर करेंगे, बट मेंस के लिए दिस इज द वे यू हैव टू स्टडी. फाइन. आज लेट हो गया तो लेट्स नॉट स्टार्ट द नेक्स्ट बुकलेट अगले वीक शुरू करते हैं. आज रात में 12 बजे तक ऑन वेरियस ग्रुप्स व्हाट्सएप टेलीग्राम पे या मेल भी करवा देंगे. आई विल शेयर यू द पीडीएफ ऑफ द टेस्ट सीरीज प्लान, है ना. उसमें करंट अफेयर्स वाला पोर्शन में भी खाली रखूंगा क्योंकि जो हम पढ़ते जाएंगे वो सिलेबस में आएगा, बट स्टैटिक का प्लान आई विल प्रोवाइड इट टू यू एंड स्टार्ट स्टडिंग अकॉर्डिंग टू इट. आई होप आप लोगों को अच्छी लग रही है क्लास. अभी शुरू की क्लासेस हैं तो थोड़ा धीरे चल रहे हैं. विल पिक अप पेस. अगस्त 20 के बाद ऐसे एक्स्ट्रा क्लासेस वगैरह भी लेना शुरू करेंगे, सो दैट बुकलेट ऑफ दिस वीक डजंट गो टू नेक्स्ट वीक. सम ऑफ यू मे फील कि सर एक्स्ट्रा क्लास होगा, इट विल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट विद आवर क्लासेस. वीडियो देख लेना, वीडियो फैसिलिटी हैज आल्सो बीन मेड अवेलेबल. अगर कोई एक्स्ट्रा क्लासेस मिस भी कर देते हो तो इट शुड नॉट बी दैट बिग अ कंसर्न. फाइन, चलिए, थैंक यू वेरी मच.